You're not going to lose many games.
You shouldn't lose many games. And, you know, the only other thing that Bucknell really has to look at that's been a problem for him.
Justin Archer will kick off out of a formation that they just turned around and went. It's a short kick. It'll bounce to the 25. Terrence Parham will pick it up, come to the 30, and Bucknell will start with decent field position. Parham may have lost the football. Colgate says they have recovered, and they have. Terrence Parham has coughed up the opening kickoff, and Colgate will start 1st and 10 at the Bucknell 30-yard line. So with a very bad start on the opening coin toss for Colgate is remedied in a hurry as Terrence Parham fumbles the opening kickoff.
This was just a flash, but I almost believe that Eric Musi, who was trying to block somebody on that, actually ran into Parham and knocked the ball loose. It was a flash. I saw Musi come out of it, and I think he's the one that knocked the ball loose.
So Colgate will take over at the BU 30.
Well, this is exactly what we said would be, you know, could cause problems, something like this.
1st and 10, Mark Lindell opens at quarterback. He'll go to the run, hand off to Damon Smith, who's normally the fullback, but they line him up at the tailback spot, and he'll carry the ball for a gain of a couple. They officially started 1st and 10 on the 29 of Bucknell. He ran straight up the middle. Ed Berman made the tackle. It'll be Damon Smith in the backfield right now with Jamal Patterson. Those two will be in the backfield. The receivers, J.J. Hope and Corey Hill. And the tight end, possible record setter for Colgate, that is John O'Flynn. Smith now in back of DJ Huff as they are in the big backfield now. And Smith will pound the left side and maybe get another yard to the 26. Colgate will look at a 3rd down and 7 as they run Smith, who's averaging 72 yards a game, into the line twice. Tim Gerard, Cedric Bodway, Rob Puntel, Fred Montford, and Jack Durkin, the offensive line for Colgate. On defense for Bucknell, the down 3, Pat Feely in the middle, flanked by Ed Berman and Hunter Adams. On the outside linebacking spots, Willie Hill and Brandon Little. It is Rob Bird and Michael Haggerty in the middle. 3rd down and 7 for Colgate at the 26 of Bucknell. Colgate is in an offset eye. They'll toss the ball left side, short side to Smith. He'll get inside the 25 to about the 22. And against a stiff wind when they run the ball there, Brian, you get a feeling they're going to go for it on 4th down.
Oh, you got to believe that they're going to go for it here because they have no chance of making this field goal. That wind is gusting probably 35, 40 knots right now. And as we just discussed, they are bringing in an extra tight end here. 4th and 4. I look for him to run Damon Smith one more time.
The secondary for Bucknell has George Shawanitz, along with Eric Musi, Mark Miller, and Terrence Parham to start the game. 4th down and 4. Bucknell's defense is going to try to stop a Colgate threat inside the 30-yard line early in the game. Lindell on his first pass throws it and underthrows the receiver. That's the tight end, John O'Flynn. George Shawanitz had coverage, but the Bucknell defense holds him on 4 downs, and what a huge lift for the Bison defense after the turnover.
That was a great play by Mike Haggerty and Hunter Adams as they were both in on that. And on that play, Lindell had absolutely no time to throw the football on a very short drop, so instant penetration by the Bucknell defense as they shot all gaps and came after him with the whole kitchen sink.
Bucknell will come to the line. They'll take over 1st and 10 on their own 23-yard line. Jim Fox, the quarterback, backs in an offset eye. Myers and Lemon, they'll run it to Lemon right side. Lemon into the secondary, has the 1st down out across the 30 to the 35-yard line. Free safety Rob Howard on the stop for the Red Raiders. In the backfield, as we mentioned, with Fox, Lemon, and Myers. Lemon is averaging 111 yards a game. 1,003 for the season coming in. Noteboom and Sikowski will be the wideouts in this formation. We'll see a couple of others later. Sikowski goes to the right. Noteboom goes to the left side. 1st and 10, Bucknell at the 35. Toss left side to Lemon. Lemon cuts back at about the hash mark. He'll gain a couple before he's knocked off his feet. The offensive line, Brian Gay at left tackle, Jason Donkers at left guard. Center, Scott Lennox, all 3 are seniors. The right side, Patrick Janssen and Marius Misiak. The tight end will be flipped back and forth between Cal Wilcox and Ted Stover.
Because of what the Red Raiders do on defense, where they stem the defensive ends inside in a 3-4 look, they block down with the offensive tackles and they pull the guards. That time Jason Donkers pulled and led Richie Lemon through the hole. We haven't seen a whole lot of that this year from the guards of Bucknell.
2nd and 7 for the Bison. Fox gives it to Lemon again. Lemon over the left side, and he'll get 3 yards more. On the tackle for Colgate was linebacker Bruce Liebitz. Colgate with basically a 4-4 set, although one of the outside linebackers acts like a strong safety. That's Jamie Lynch. Liebitz, Matt Domiancic, the transfer from Air Force, and Adam Sofrin are the linebackers. The down four, former quarterback Kevin Karimsky at one defensive end, Joe Castagna at the other, Jeff Bentz and Derek Libertor are the defensive tackles. Charles Holland, Rob Howard, and Aaron Bird Leitner are in the secondary. They lost their best secondary player last week with a broken ankle in Marcus Cameron. Toss left side on 3rd and 4 to Lemon. Lemon will get to the outside and get knocked out of bounds, but not before he picks up a first down. Forcing him out was Castagna, but a pickup of about 5 for Rich Lemon, and Bucknell will have a first down at their own 47-yard line.
Yeah, and Rich was a little upset with himself there as his feet came out from underneath him when he made that cut. There was a lot of room to run down the sideline there. He only picked up 5. It looked like 15 were really available to him, upset with the fact that his feet came out from underneath him. The thing that has occurred here with the turnover by Bucknell is it kind of gets your team woken up early. You get shocked. And if you thought about daydreaming or maybe kind of working your way into the game, you're jolted right away. You've got to perform instantly, and that's what the Bucknell defense did.
Fox back to pass on 1st and 10, going long, completes to Sikowski at the 36, and he fumbles the football, and Colgate is recovered. Recovering the fumble for the Red Raiders was Jamie Lynch, the outside linebacker at the Red Raider 33. The Bison have turned it over for the second time today. That after a big pass play to John Sikowski, but he got popped. And the ball turns over on the turnover to the Red Raiders with 11:19 to go in quarter number 1, no score.
Yeah, and Colgate coming out with no huddle. That was just a great strip by the halfback, left halfback, Aaron Bird Leitner of Sikowski. John was putting the ball away as he got stripped.
So Colgate takes over on their own 33. Lindell throws it outside to J.J. Hope, makes the catch. Parham misses the tackle, and he'll get about 5 more yards. It's a gain of 12 for the first down. Caught it at about the 38, slipped the Parham tackle, and got all the way out to the 45, so Colgate will get their first down of the game.
Yeah, and J.J. Hope is having a pretty good season for the Red Raiders. He was one of the few players in this team that started all 11 games for him last year, a dependable wide receiver, and Parham is really upset with himself because if he would have broken that ball earlier, that would have been 6 points the other way. That ball's in the air a long time.
1st and 10 for Colgate at the 45, their own. Backs in an offset eye. They'll hand off to the fullback, Smith. Smith will go over the left side for a couple to about the 48. We'll call it a gain of 3. Damon Smith, a 5'10", 215-pound sophomore, injured all of last season with a knee injury in the first game of the year, was redshirted. The year before as a freshman rushed for 435 yards, and again he picks up 3 that time at 2nd and 7. Colgate out of the huddle quickly. They'll send Corey Hill to the left side, J.J. Hope to the right. The backs in the eye. They've got Smith as the tailback now. And a newcomer at fullback for Colgate, that is Jared Bowers. Smith will carry from the tailback spot, get a couple of more to midfield, and Colgate will have a long 3rd down, 3rd and 5, where they've only converted 30% of their 3rd downs.
You're mentioning Damon Smith. He did tear his ACL ligament last year, and it was on his first carry from scrimmage. This team has been snake-bitten by the injury bug. It's gotten quite a few guys last year and this year. I think you said something like maybe 12 players have been hurt out for the season this year, Bob?
Right, and last year the starting quarterback, or supposed starter, Ian Prosciutto, who's now the backup, injured his shoulder on the first day of camp last year and was lost for the season.
Yeah, and he injured it lifting weights.
3rd and 5 from midfield. Colgate will send everybody into the pattern. Lindell throws a middle screen to Smith. He's got the first down, makes a catch at the first down marker at the 45, wrestles his way inside the 45 to the 41. It'll be a pickup of about 9 on the play, and the Red Raiders will move the sticks. They're into Bucknell territory for the 2nd time on the afternoon.
Lindell, for a team that's 0-9 right now and really has been blown out of a lot of football game, has pretty good stats. And he does spray the ball around pretty good, and Smith is one of his targets.
Lindell has completed 51% of his passes for an average of 173 yards a game. 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Lindell play fakes to Caravetta, rolls to the right side on 1st and 10, throws it, and it's intercepted by Brandon Little. Little stepped in front of the tight end John O'Flynn and picked off the Lindell pass, and we have seen 3 turnovers in the game. That's the first one the Bison defense has forced.
John O'Flynn is the Red Raiders' all-time leading receiver, and he's really having a fantastic season. He is Lindell's favorite target, and Lindell there just tried to force that ball into him. They ran a bootleg, which Bucknell seems to play very, very well for the last 5 or 6 games now. Ever since the Penn game, they played that play very well, and that was just good coverage by Little.
Ball turned over with 9:21 to go in the first quarter. No score. Bucknell takes over on their own 37. Fox under center. Colgate's defensive line jumping around a little bit. Fox will go to the run. He'll hand it off to Lemon. Lemon gets across the line of scrimmage, out across the 40 over the right side of the 42. He'll pick up 5 before he's knocked down by the linebacker, Matt Domiancic, the transfer from Air Force, who has moved into the number 1 spot in tackles on this team with 93 tackles on the year. Bucknell will shuttle in the tight ends. Cal Wilcox will limp off under his own power, though, and Ted Stover will come into the game. And you can probably hear that wind at home on the crowd mic. Very, very windy, as Brian mentioned. Gusts of about 35 or so miles an hour blowing behind the Bison in this first quarter. We have 8:45 to go in the period, no score. 2nd and 4. Fox to the run again, hands it to Lemon. Lemon across the line of scrimmage. Should have the first down out to about the 48 of Bucknell. We'll call it a pickup of 5, and the sticks will move.
This is not a good defensive football team, and one of the things you look for bad football teams is how many guys are on the ground every play. And that time, 3 of the 4 defensive linemen were on their backs as Richie Lemon picked up about 5 or 6 yards in that carry. You can't play football laying on your back.
1st and 10 for the Bison. Nopum and Sikowski both go to the wide side. That's the near side of the field. Backs line up in an I. Fox will give it off to the fullback, Myers. Myers breaks the initial tackle. We'll get into Colgate territory. We'll call it a run of 3 yards. Joe Castana on the tackle for the Red Raiders. 2nd and 7 coming up for the Bison. Cal Wilcox, back into the game for the Bison.
Every single week we've been talking about the progress of Jim Fox at quarterback. Now starting his 10th game of the season, he's no longer a rookie quarterback back there. And one of the things that I look for is the little things that he's improving on. That time he carried out a ball fake as if he was bootlegging. And what the offensive coordinator is looking at right now, Craig Maropoulos, is did somebody follow him when he bootleg faked that time? They're setting things up for later in the year.
2nd and 7. The ball is tipped and nearly intercepted. Rob Howard off the tip nearly took it away for his first interception of the season. Pass intended for Steve Nopum, but somebody in the defensive line got the hands up and batted the ball in the air.
Yeah, we almost saw our 4th turnover of this football game right there.
Bucknell will go to the 4 wide receiver set as O.J. Perkins will come in, or at least 3 wide receiver set. Chris Peer will come in, and he'll be a fullback, giving Bucknell a better pass receiver than the freshman fullback Jeremy Myers. Play clock down to 12. Bucknell still in a huddle. They're going to have to hurry. Perkins to the right, Nopum and Sikowski to the left. Backs, Peer, and Lemon split behind him. Down to 3 seconds. They get it off on a quick count. Fox has all day, throws it left side, and Sikowski, plain and simple, dropped the football. In and out of his hands, would have been a first down, and he dropped the football.
John's having a tough day to start things off here for the senior, as he was responsible for losing the ball on a fumble on a strip on the last series, and that ball was right in his hands. First down yardage. It was a great throw by Jim Fox.
Bucknell's Rich Miller will be on to punt. This season he's averaged 35.5 yards a kick. There is an injured Colgate player down at midfield. It appears to be Kevin Karimsky, the defensive end, who has started 4 games, has played in all 9 for Colgate, has 16 tackles, and that's a guy they switched from defensive end from quarterback.
I saw that. That's an unusual switch, but probably a pretty good athlete.
And he's also 6'2", 230.
Yeah, that helps. And the Colgate defense that time did something a little unusual, as they have a 4-man rush line, and they dropped one of the defensive tackles into coverage, picking up the tight end, probably showing a lot of respect for the passing game of Bucknell.
Karimsky will walk off under his own power. Bucknell will line up in punt formation. Corey Hill will be the man to return the punt. He'll have his heels standing on the 10-yard line. Marcus Cameron had normally handled the duties. Hill has only returned 1 punt this season for -3 yards. Bucknell with a 4th and 7 from the midfield stripe. The snapper is Scott Lennox. And it's a low pass from center, but Miller gets it and kicks it away with the wind. It's a high kick. Hill will call for the fair catch, let it hit at the 5 and go into the end zone. So it'll be a 49-yard punt that time for Miller. No return, but only 29 yards on the net on the touchback. Colgate will get to start at the 20-yard line. 7 minutes and 22 seconds to go in quarter number 1. No score. Bucknell turned it over on the opening kickoff and also fumbled after a big gainer to John Sikowski. Colgate returned the favor with an interception that Brandon Little picked off for the Bison. So both teams have been able to move the ball a little bit, but both teams have had trouble hanging on to it as well.
And both teams have been guilty of some really major fouls here early in this game. It's been sloppy from the start.
1st and 10 at the 20 for Colgate. Lindell hands it off to Damon Smith. Smith will go over the left side for about 5 yards. Looked like a rugby scrum as the pile kept moving more and more downfield. We'll call it a gain of 5 for the big fullback for Colgate. Both teams, as we mentioned, have had trouble sustaining things. No team has run for more than 5 consecutive plays. Yet another injury for Colgate. Starting right tackle Jack Durkin, who is a returning starter from a year ago, is slow to get up. Colgate with very little depth on the offensive line. Matt Polizzato has missed the last 2 games with a sprained ankle. Whether he is going to see any action today still remains to be seen.
And one of their captains hasn't even played this year, Tom Morelli. Supposed to come back, their best defensive player, a linebacker. He hasn't played this year. He tore his ACL in spring practice last year. Hasn't been able to return this year.
Sometimes teams just snake bit, Brian, with injuries, because the last 2 years Colgate looks like they maybe have dropped a mirror for 13 years, bad luck or something.
It's sometimes you think that somebody's got a voodoo doll out there and they're sticking it in body parts of somebody and you've got no control over it. And you just wish that the hex would be lifted and that you could play a game without guys going down like this.
It'll be 2nd and 5 when play resumes for Colgate as the...
It's bad when your team doctor is getting a big workout. You know, maybe a bigger workout than the players are playing.
If you're just joining us, 7 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the first quarter. No score between Bucknell and Colgate here on a dark, overcast day. The temperature, though, probably in the low 50s, maybe the upper 40s. Luke George will come in for Colgate, it appears, or maybe he's just going to come in to assist with getting big 6'3", 278-pound Jack Durkin off the field. Durkin is up on his feet now, and he's going to put his arms around the necks of the 2 teammates coming out to assist him, and he's not going to put much pressure on that leg. He's going to walk off very, very slowly with a lot of help.
That's costly because Durkin was the only returning starter from a year ago. So another guy with with the experience factor on his side. The other linemen for him are all pretty good-sized kids in the 275, 280-pound range, and this is nothing unusual for the Bucknell defense, who is small in stature, but very quick and very aggressive, and this is the type of team I think where they have a lot of success.
Colgate now has moved Tim Gerard over to right tackle from left tackle. Rick Rogers in the game at left tackle. Lindell will play fake on 2nd and 5. Sprint out and underthrow Damon Smith. A poor pass for Lindell. Just throw it at the feet of Smith. He had a little room and may have been able to pick up a first down. And now Colgate looks at a 3rd down and 5 to try to sustain this drive here that they start at their own 20 and they're now in their 3rd play of this.
It was a bad pass, and there was first down yardage for Damon Smith there if he was able to catch that football. But Lindell, I think, heard the footsteps of Ed Berman chasing down from behind, and he released the ball prematurely.
3rd down and 5. Bucknell with a 5-man line. 3 down, and the 2 outside linebackers cheat up. Lindell back to pass, give it off on a draw to Caravetta. Caravetta out over the middle will not see first down yardage. The Bison were able to close down in a hurry to make the tackle. Making the stop for the Bison was Michael Haggerty, who stayed at home in the inside linebacker spot, and it'll be a punting situation for the Red Raiders.
Yeah, and once again, something that we've seen a lot from the Bison defense this year is they blitzed middle linebacker Rob Bird, and it was actually a good call against that blitz, but Haggerty, great job staying home.
Bad snap from center, hit one of the upbacks, and I don't know who's going to fall on it. It really doesn't matter because it's 4th down. The Bison will take over. They have come up with the football. Just a horrendous snap by Colgate, hitting one of the upbacks, and it is going to be Jeff Bombick coming up with the loose ball, and the Bison get it on the fumble, and will start inside Colgate's 20 at the 18.
This has started out as one of the strangest games I've ever seen, maybe indicative of the weather and the cloud coverage that's moving around very quickly. Like the calm before the storm, I feel like I'm almost in the Wizard of Oz here.
So Bombich comes up with the recovery, and that'll be at the 18-yard line. So Bucknell with a very short field to work here with 6:12 to go in the first quarter. Fox throws it over the middle to Ted Stover, makes the catch at the 10, rumbles inside the 10 to the 8. Rob Howard makes the tackle with one of the linebackers. Also, that would be Mike Burton, and it'll be a pickup of 9 on the play. 2nd and 1 coming up for the Bison.
Ted Stover not used too much in that role this year. That was only his 6th catch of the season, but really a nice pass against that defense, finding an opening in the seam straight down the field. Right
now it's a gain of 9. They'll bring the sticks on, and if it's a first down, they'll give Stover 10 yards. They'll stretch the sticks, and it looks like it's going to be just short. And I think this is a chance maybe to play fake and go for the end zone here, Brian, because you got 2nd and inches and should be able to pick up the first down and the 3rd down.
I agree. I think it's worth a shot right here, and there's no reason to keep this team hanging around. We've seen already from even before the opening kickoff that this team is going to make a lot of mistakes today, and good football teams take advantage of those mistakes. They capitalize on them, and they put teams away like this early.
6 minutes and 7 seconds to go in quarter number 1. Bucknell with second down and about a foot just inside the 9. They have to get to the 8 for a first down. We'll see what the Bison Brain Trust comes up with. Nopum and Sikowski both wide to the right. That's the wide side of the field. Ted Stover on the short side. He's the tight end. Backs in an eye. Fox will give it off on a little delay to Lemon. Lemon has the first down. Lemon inside the 5. Lemon will be forced out of bounds at about the 2 or the 3-yard line, where Bucknell will have a first and goal.
You know, when you have a 1,000-yard rusher in the backfield dotting that I, it's never a bad choice to give him the ball.
And especially on a little bit of a delay, they're probably hoping that the Colgate defense might drop back because they might be thinking the same thing we are. They might throw the football.
Colgate's forced really to take a lot of chances here. They're really stunning a lot up front, and if you delay and you let those guys take their lanes early, then you're able to pick your own lane.
First and goal for Bucknell at the Colgate 3. Myers in front of Lemon and I. Rocket the lone receiver. They play with double tight ends. They'll hand the ball to Lemon. Lemon over the right side, and Lemon is into the end zone for the touchdown. 7th touchdown of the season for Rich Lemon, and the Bison take the lead 6-0 with 5:43 to go in the first quarter.
And Jeremy Myers was the lead fullback on that play, and we've seen that in recent weeks now, where Richie Lemon really likes to run behind Jeremy. He's a big guy, and he's strong, and he really does a nice job of busting right up in the middle.
Rich Miller on for the extra point. He's 16 out of 18 this season. Sikowski to hold, Wilcox to snap. The kick is up, and the kick is good. We've got a break in the action. With 5 minutes and 43 seconds to go in quarter number 1, it's Bucknell 7, Colgate nothing. You're listening to Bucknell Football on the Bison Sports Network. Bob Bueller, Brian Baldinger back here. Our statisticians, Frank Thompson and Heath Mathias. Bucknell has drawn first blood. Ross Coleman will kick off. It's 7-0 Bison. Coleman's kick will go to the goal line. Will be taken by Anthony Caravetta there. Straight up the middle to the 10, to the 15. Tries to stutter step his way by defenders. Can't do it. He'll be knocked down at the 20-yard line, as the Bison special teams did a good job not allowing him to pop it through. David Purcell down there to make the stop with help from Matt Kunar.
Colgate starting all their series with the no-huddle offense, just lining up, maybe trying to catch Bucknell off guard just a little bit, but Bucknell in shape here defensively. I think they have this well scouted.
5:37 to go in the first quarter. Bucknell has just scored on the 3-yard run by Lemon. Damon Smith will carry the ball, and Pat Feely, the nose guard, will tackle him in the backfield. A flag is down. It could be a face mask against the Bison, because there were more white than maroon shirts there. And I don't think Colgate could have gotten in there to hold. Somebody was a little bit overzealous. Feely had Smith at first, and then a whole bunch of other white jerseys came in to help finish him off, as Bucknell swarming to the football, and I think Colgate's going to get a break.
Oh, that's too bad, because I think it was Feely that actually face guarded Smith there, because he was trying to bring him down solo, trying to get solo credit for that tackle, and in so doing so, I think his hand slipped off and grabbed the face mask, and they marked it off for...
And since there was a loss on the play, they'll take the ball back to the line of scrimmage of the 20 and give a 5-yard penalty. They'll call it the inadvertent face mask, so it'll now be 1st and 5 from the 25-yard line.
That's the right call.
Great play by Feely. He has been a dominant nose guard all season for the Bison. I think the best nose guard we've seen in the league.
I think so. He makes a lot of plays in the backfield, creates a lot of chaos at the line of scrimmage.
1st and 5 for the Red Raiders. They'll go with one back. First time we've seen that. Lindell will roll to the left side, being chased by Willie Hill. Lindell will run 25-30, has a first down out to the 33. Lindell on the scramble will carry for 8, and Colgate will pick up a first down. Willie Hill and Rob Bird make the tackle for the Bison. Down under 5 minutes now to go in the first quarter. Sky's very dark overhead. And wouldn't it be nice if this wind would just push those dark clouds right overhead and not let us have any precipitation this afternoon?
The coaches are worried about it. They think that it's coming here later this afternoon, and that's why it's important to get points on the board early.
1st and 10 Colgate. The Red Raiders bobble the exchange, and they're going to end up gaining yardage. Tim Gerard, the lineman, will recover the football 4 or 5 yards downfield. Jamal Patterson was going to take the handoff. That was Patterson, would have been his first carry of the game, but he never had the football, and it looked like it hit his thigh pad and bopped forward, and it's a gain of 4 for Tim Gerard, the offensive lineman.
And that's the luckiest 5 yards that I hope Colgate gets all day long, because Smith and Lindell had a bad exchange in the backfield, and that ball was rolling around on the ground for a long time. It's unusual that a Bucknell defender didn't pick that ball up first, as aggressive as they are.
2nd and 6 after the 4-yard gain. Lindell to the run. This time Patterson will hold on to the ball, and he'll be greeted by Bird and Berman. The double Bs make the tackle, and it'll be virtually no gain where they're going to mark the forward progress as he got repulsed and thrown back into the backfield. Officially looks like a loss of 1. It'll now be 3rd and 7.
I was talking with Andy Cohen, the defensive line coach of Bucknell, before the game, and he was very unimpressed by the Colgate offensive line. Thought that they were really very slow, not very good athletes, and I think that they really wanted to turn the defensive line of Bucknell loose today, take a lot of chances, gamble a lot, and really try to create chaos right at the point of attack and in the backfield. That's what we've been seeing all day long so far.
Well, Bucknell, with Tom Gadd's theory of putting smaller, quicker players on defense, moving Little up from the safety to a linebacker, LeBrecq the same way, putting a guy like
Speed,
putting Willie Hill as an outside linebacker, I think has really paid off this year.
Yeah.
3rd down and 7 for Colgate. They'll go with back split, Hope to the left, and Hill to the right side. Lindell under center. Now he'll put Smith in front of Patterson in the eye. Bucknell with a 5-man line. Bucknell will blitz a couple of linebackers. Lindell being chased, dumps it out in the backfield to Patterson, and Patterson will be tackled in back of the line of scrimmage. He'll lose a couple of yards back to the 36. Patterson was the safety valve. He was wide open, and you have to give the Bison defense credit because the rushers were in there on Lindell, but the people who were the containment on the outside didn't budge, and they made the great tackle.
Yeah, and Lindell was really upset because he made the audible call, changed the play at the line of scrimmage. And Rob Bird once again came scot-free from the linebacking position, immediately put pressure on Lindell, forced him to throw the ball earlier and quicker than he wanted to.
Joe Oseki will try to punt the ball this time. Last time the snap did not get back to him. Greg McNiff, the snapper, gets it back to Oseki, a reserve linebacker. That's off the side of his foot, and it's going to roll dead at the Bucknell 47-yard line. So the Bison, who started their last drive at the 18, will have outstanding field position, this time starting on the opposite side of the 50, but just barely. It'll be 1st and 10, Bucknell at about their own 47-yard line.
And there's 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this first quarter, Bob, and with this wind, the way it's ripping out there, I would look for Bucknell to put the ball in the air and maybe try to get another score with the wind at their back.
How about going to the 2-minute mode here, Brian? Bucknell has been very good at it all season. You've got 2:30 to go in the quarter.
They certainly have that package in their offense. It's an option for them to use it.
Fox tosses left side, short side to Lemon. Lemon tries to get the corner, and he'll get a couple out to about the 49-yard line. They actually started the drive at the 46 as they gave the punt a little more downfield roll than it had. So Lemon will pick up 3. 2nd and 7 as Bucknell just shy of the midfield stripe. Bison leading by the score of 7-0 on Bucknell's last drive. Lemon carried over from the 3 to give Bucknell the first score of the game. Kevin Karimsky, who was injured a little bit earlier, is now back in the game for Colgate at defensive end. 2nd and 7. Sikowski and Noteboom both go wide to the right. Backs in an offset eye. Myers shades over to the left side. Lemon the tailback. Fox back to pass on 2nd and 7. Throws it to Wilcox, who tried to run with the ball before he had it. It's incomplete. Would have been good enough for first down yardage. I guess you could say that Aaron Bird-Leitner was on coverage with help from Mike Burton, but unless they said boo, there was nobody that really did anything.
And when we look at these stats at the end of this quarter and at the end of the first half, we can't really look at Jim Fox's stats too closely because he's had a number of balls already this afternoon dropped right in the midst of the receivers.
He's just 2 out of 5 for 27 yards, but he's had 2 balls dropped on him, one for Sikowski and one right there.
He's been very accurate so far today.
3rd down and 7 for the Bison. They need to get to the 44 of Colgate for the first down. 4 wide receivers. Fox over the middle, and that time led Sikowski a little too much. He tried to make the diving catch. It's off his fingertips, incomplete, and the Bison will punt. Just 2:18 now remains in quarter number 1, and Rich Miller will punt for the 2nd time today. And dropping back will be Corey Hill. Last time it was a touchback.
John is too good of a receiver to drop that football right there, and with the fumble today and another drop pass earlier, you know, he needs to wake up here and shake this off, not hang his head, go out and have a good second quarter.
Punting from just short of midfield is Miller, trying to pin Colgate back in. And big rush, but the Red Raiders don't block it. The wind will carry the ball. It'll hit at the 9, and it's going to roll out of bounds. No, it went into the end zone. I thought it was going to take that left turn and go out at the 1, but it just caught the pylon. It's a touchback. 50 yards on the punt for Rich Miller.
Wow, that would have been a great, great punt if that thing had gone out right at the pylon. It looked like it was going to be out at the 1-yard line, and it made a sudden right turn into the end zone. Colgate caught a lucky break.
So Colgate will get another touchback and start at the 20-yard line again, as the Red Raider offense will come back on the field. Mark Lindell, 2 out of 6 for 27 yards today. Excuse me, that was Fox's statistics I was looking at. Lindell, 3 out of 6 for 20 yards, so both quarterbacks have not had a lot of numbers. Lindell has not looked overly good. He'll hand off the ball to Smith. Smith will run hard over the left side, get about 6 yards out to the 26, carrying the pile with him. Damon Smith, a good hard running back. Mike Haggerty making the tackle, also with help from Josh Lebrecht.
Damon Smith is kind of a powerful guy, averaging about 4.2 yards per carry this year, and he can push a pile now, and that's what he's done so far this afternoon.
Minute 41 to go. Smith has carried the ball now 7 times for 23 yards in the first quarter. In a minute 35, Colgate will have the win. Hope in motion from left to right. Colgate plays with double tight ends and an eye. Lindell will hand off to the fullback. Again, that's Smith. Smith will get the first down out across the 30 to the 31. Pick up a 5 more for Smith. And the sticks will move. Colgate has had a lot of trouble throwing the ball today against this wind, but their ground game has been decently effective.
It doesn't look like they have any sort of big game breakers out there on running the ball or anything like that, but they look like they're good for a good 4 or 5 yards a carry. And if they can sustain a drive without making mistakes, maybe they can be effective in this approach.
Minute 7 and counting to go in quarter number 1. 7-0 Bucknell. If you're just joining us, the Bison in a 5-man line, Colgate in an I formation. Hope in motion from right to left on 1st and 10. And a flag is down. Colgate took too much time, so they'll have to do it again at 1st and 15 as the ball moved back to the 25-yard line.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. It's difficult to run 3 times into the line in between the tackles, pick up a first down, and then all of a sudden you find yourself 1st and 15. And when it's 1st and 15, you can't really take that approach running between the tackles.
Colgate this season has averaged 6 penalties for 72 yards per game. They're a minus 10 on the turnover. Bucknell has had just an average of 6.5 penalties a game, and for only 58 yards, so neither team has really killed themselves this year with penalties. 1st and 15 is the ball back on the 25. They'll hand the ball to Smith. Smith coming out of the tailback spot now. He'll get a couple out to the 27-yard line. Josh Lebrecht again there helping to bring him down. Josh getting on his back, and we have 29 seconds to go, and Bucknell might want to think about calling a timeout. They are to force them maybe to punt into the wind. We'll take the timeout with the Bison. It is 7-0 Bucknell. You're listening to Bucknell football on the Bison Sports Network. Second and 13, and Lindell will flutter a pass to the right side, and catching it is J.J. Hope. They'll pick up a few on the play. They pick up a total of about 6, where it'll even 3rd down and 7 as the ball is out to the 33-yard line. The Bison get a break there, Brian, because Hope went out of bounds, stopping the clock. So there's 25 seconds left. Bucknell still with 2 timeouts remaining, and Colgate has to pick up the better part of 7 yards to avoid punting into the wind.
And I have to applaud Coach Tom Gadd for calling the timeout with 31 seconds left, because that's a great move. They want to force these Red Raiders here to punt into this wind and probably get the ball in good field position. Look for O'Flynn here on this 3rd and 8.
Back to passes, Lindell. Big rush comes. The pass is batted down by Ed Berman or Hunter Adams, and Lindell got knocked to the turf as well. And the Bison are not going to have to use a timeout again because clock stops on the incompletion. 21 seconds to go, and Colgate will have to punt into that stiff wind.
And I think that if Bucknell did not call that timeout, that Colgate would have been really tempted just to keep running the football and turn it into the second quarter and take the win.
10 men at the line. Mike Phillips standing at his own 42-yard line. Joe Osecki had a very short punt last time of just 16 yards into that win. McNiff to snap for Colgate. Bucknell with 10 men at the line. Nice pass from center. Big rush, and the kick is blocked. It is rolling. It is just short of the line of scrimmage. And Colgate will have the ball touched at about the 34-yard line, so Bucknell will come up with a football there at the 34-yard line. You cannot advance the block punt. And Bucknell will take over. Good penetration, and Osecki got no loft on the kick as well.
Well, I've seen better operations on a punt team in Pop Warner Little League with 6- and 8-year-olds than I've seen out here. This is just an awful display of special teams by Colgate.
Well, they had the one snap that didn't even get back, and then they had the 16-yard punt, and now they have one block.
Their special team mishaps started with the opening toss here tonight.
When they elected to kick, and they should have elected to play the win by Colgate's decision. Bucknell now with 11 seconds left going with the win. It's the flea flicker to Lemon. Back to Fox. He's got Phillips out there, and the ball is underthrown just a little bit. Incomplete. 3 seconds to go in the quarter.
That was a great play and a great effort to get that ball in the end zone. Fox took too long getting that ball to Phillips. He was open much earlier in that play. It would have been a simple throw the ball up, let Phillips run underneath it, but they waited too long in order to get that ball off.
So it'll now be 2nd and 10 from the Colgate 34 after the block punt. Bison will break the huddle. They've got 3 seconds to go in the quarter, so this should be the final play of the period. 2 receivers to the right. Backs in an offset eye. They'll toss the ball to Lemon. Lemon inside the 35. He'll be knocked off his feet by Adam Sofrin after a gain of 1, and that's the final play of quarter number 1. Quarter's over with Bucknell in front, 7-0. You're listening to Bucknell football on the Bison Sports Network. We move to quarter number 2 with the score. Bucknell leading by the count of 7-0. Time of possession benefits Colgate, but the points do not. What do the statistics say, Brian? Time of possession, 11:48 for Colgate, just 3:12 for Bucknell.
It's really been pretty even so far. The biggest thing out there so far has been the turnovers and the number of miscues that have happened on both sides of the football, but statistically, Richie Lemon right now, 10 carries, 44 yards. And on the other side, his counterpart, Damon Smith, 9 carries for 33 yards. Fox, 2 for 7 for 27 yards and an interception. And we said that there's been a number of drops so far. And Lindell, 4 for 8 for 26 yards. Total offense, Bucknell right now, 17 plays for 74 yards. And for Colgate, 22 plays for 64 yards.
Now, how will the win with Bucknell going against it, how is that going to change what we see them do on offense?
I don't think it's going to really affect Bucknell that much. They threw the ball very well into the win last week. Fox has a pretty strong arm. They're going to put the ball up here on 3rd and 11.
3rd and 11, the ball at the Colgate 34-yard line. Fox back to pass. They're going to give it off on a draw to Lemon. Lemon picks his way across the line. We'll get to the 30-yard line, maybe to the 29, and we'll see if Bucknell is going to try to pooch punt it inside the 10 or whether they're going to go for it. They left the offense on the field. They will now have a 3rd down and 8 to go for a 1st down. Figuring they're too far against the wind for a field goal. It'll be a 40-plus yard kick. And I guess they figure if they're going to punt it, they're only going to gain 10 yards.
You asked me just to play before, what will the wind do, how it will change. It really plays a part in every single thing you do. This is not normal 4-down territory right here. This is a position where Rich Miller could go for a field goal, but with this wind, it affects all of your decisions every single play. 3
wide receivers, 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Lemon the lone back, everyone into the pattern. Fox has time, throws it to the sideline, and Lemon can't catch the ball. He was screened on the play by one of Colgate's defensive linemen, Mike Phillips, who had dropped back in coverage. This Mike Phillips, not to be confused with Bucknell's Mike Phillips. This guy's 6'5", 253, and I don't know if Lemon saw the pass.
I think that Lemon saw the pass, and I thought Fox saw the defensive tackle that had dropped off. What happened was he had a lot of time to throw the ball, and Richie Lemon had uncovered, and he tried to zip the ball in between there, but the wind really played havoc with the throw. Colgate actually pretty good defensive philosophy here, dropping that tackle off and covering Lemon out of the backfield.
1st and 10, Colgate. They take over on their own 30. There's a new quarterback. Ian Prosciutta is in the game. He hands the ball to Damon Smith, who busts tackles and gets the better part of 9 yards out to the 39-yard line. Willie Jackson in the game brought him down on the tackle, and we're a minute into quarter number 2. Colgate has made the switch in quarterbacks. Lindell is out, having gone 4 of 8 for 26 yards. They go to Prosciutta, who this season is 15 of 29 for 52% and 122 yards. He has played in some of the games, 5 of the games, and made 2 starts this year for the Red Raiders. 2nd down and 1. Prosciutta, the quarterback, will hand it off to Smith again. Smith will try to go to the right side and get a couple. Has the 1st down at the 41-yard line. Damon Smith has been the workhorse this afternoon for the Colgate Red Raiders. On the tackle for Bucknell was Brandon Little, the outside linebacker.
And just looking at Mark Lindell's reaction on the sideline over there, right now he's passing the signals in to Prosciutta for the plays, and he's not happy about this situation here. He has a pretty good arm. I would have thought that they would have waited until they had the wind behind him, maybe given him another opportunity. It's a completely different offensive scheme with that wind at your back. 1st and 10, Colgate at their own 41. Prosciutta has him in an eye. He will hand the ball to the fullback Smith, who will dive it into the line. Brandon Little there again on the tackle for Bucknell, a gain of a couple.
And some extracurricular activity after the play by Fred Monfit, an offensive lineman, knocking Ed Berman down. Now George Sawanitz coming in to get into the discussion. No flags down.
There has been some tempestuous buildup here already this afternoon, and I'm looking for something to kind of maybe break out here. A little altercations after almost every single play, both sides of the football.
Well, aren't 0-9 teams right now mentally just very frustrated? Doesn't take much to set them off?
They're a wounded animal, and they're dangerous.
2nd down and 8 after the 2-yard gain to Smith. Smith the lone back. Prosciutto will roll to the left side, look to throw on the run to O'Flynn, the tight end. Makes the catch at the 48, gets bumped out of bounds there by Brandon Little. It'll be a pickup of about 5, and Colgate will look at a 3rd down and 3 coming up here to sustain their drive with 12:25 to go in the half. The Red Raiders trail the Bison 7-0.
One thing that conditions like today throw out at teams is that they really play it close to the vest. They don't really take many chances when they're going into the win. They tend to play very conservatively. In that first quarter, we saw Colgate line up in a lot of 2 tight end offenses and just try not to beat themselves. Now you see them kind of open things up a little bit more here with the wind at their back.
Colgate in the first quarter against the wind was 1 out of 6 on 3rd downs. Here they go on a 3rd and 3. They'll run the ball to Damon Smith. He's got the 1st down. Mark Miller, the free safety, will finally bring him down inside the 45 at the 44, a gain of 8 on the run strip, the middle for Colgate, and they're into Bucknell territory at the Bison 44-yard line. Joe DeLugos will come back into the game for Bucknell. He will replace Steve Pratico. Actually, Ed Berman will be replaced by DeLugos as Haggerty comes in for Pratico. Bucknell getting some fresh legs in defensively.
Colgate running a lot of the offenses that I used to see the Washington Redskins run, and Damon Smith kind of reminds me a little bit of John Riggins, the way he runs. Very, very straight up and down, right into the line, not a lot of north-south cutting.
Smith will get the handoff. He'll bounce off Rob Bird, but Joe DeLugos will be there to finish him off. It may be a loss of 1 on the play. Certainly no gain at best for Colgate. 2nd and 10. This team really not much fancy. They've run a lot of plays just into the center of the line. Smith has 14 carries for 52 yards, and then you throw in Patterson and Caravetta with a carry each. Not much fancy going on out there. It's 2nd down and 11 now for the Red Raiders. Hope to the left, to the right, Hill to the left. Huff now in front of it, looks like Patterson in the eye. Hill will go in motion to put 2 receivers over to the right side. Prosciutto will roll right, dump it out in the flat to Hill, makes the catch for a short gain. Willie Jackson will grab onto the ankle, and Terrence Parham will finish him off. It'll be a pickup of about 4, and Colgate will have a 3rd down and 7 to go for a 1st down.
We mentioned that John O'Flynn is their best receiver, has the Colgate receiving all-time record here at the school, and on that particular play, he stayed in the block from the tight end position. You don't normally think of your best receiver staying in the block, but I think what they're doing is they're setting up a tight end screen, letting him stay in the block, kind of buy some time, then slip out late underneath the linebackers. We might look for that coming up later.
3rd and 7, 2 receivers to the left. Hill and Hope, backs in an eye. Prosciutto on a draw to Patterson. Patterson will not get the 1st down. He may get a yard or 2. Pat Feely, the nose guard, held his position and made the stop for the Bison. 3rd and 6, and now Colgate will try to play field position. They're going to bring the punting team on. And again, this has been a fire drill for them. And now it looks like they're going to have a new punter. They're going to bring Eric Gordon, a sophomore who has not punted this year, to try to punt the football. He is a wide receiver. We'll see if he's actually going to kick it, or there might be something crazy on this play. Pass from center to Gordon. He's going to kick it and gets a pretty good kick with a win. Phillips will let it go over his head at the 10, and it'll go into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. 40 yards on the kick for Gordon, and Bucknell will start at the 20.
It just makes no sense, Bob, to bring a new guy in like that, kick it in the end zone. You gain 19 yards of field position on the play. Not even an effort to try to directional kick it to the sidelines, coffin corner, or anything.
But, you know, maybe just punting the ball in the air, not getting it blocked, and getting the snap back, maybe that's an accomplishment.
I guess that's cause celeb right there.
1st and 10 for Bucknell at the 20-yard line. It's been kind of an ugly first half. 10:05 to go. There have been 4 turnovers in the game, 2 for each side.
Not many highlights.
No, not at all. Take a look at the scoreboard in just a second, see if we can figure out how Lehigh and Holy Cross are doing, and Lafayette and Fordham as we're getting down to the wire in the Patriot League. Fox on 1st and 10 at the 20, gets it to Lemon, bounces to the outside, to the left side. He'll get about 8 yards before he's run out of bounds by one of the safeties. That's Aaron Bird-Leitner.
And they threw a flag. I think there was a late hit on Richie on the sideline. I've seen Rich have a couple words with a few of the defensive players so far today. We've been talking about the tempestuous rise here in altercations, and there was a little extracurricular activity on the sidelines. I think we'll see an extra 15 yards here.
So Lemon gets 8 and then gets 15 more because of foolishness by Colgate. Some good news in Bethlehem, albeit midway through the first, but Holy Cross leads Lehigh 3-0.
Wow.
And there's no score for them at Lafayette, very end of the first quarter.
Holy Cross has some people that can make some plays, and they were a little stiff at times last week defensively. They weren't an awful ball club.
A lot of Bison fans waving that purple pom-pom today. 1st and 10 for Bucknell after the penalty, all the way out to the 44-yard line. They'll go with double tight ends into the win. Ron Rocket, the lone wingback. Toss right side to Lemon out of the power formation. Lemon will get about 5 yards to the Bucknell 49. 2nd and 5 coming up. Almost looks like an old USC play, that student body right, where they had everybody at the line of scrimmage, toss it to Lemon, and let everybody block.
And Jeremy Myers right there had a great block on the outside linebacker, Jamie Lynch, and Lemon just cut right inside that block. And I'm telling you, in the open field, Jeremy Myers is a very, very good blocker. He's like a locomotive coming at you. He doesn't slow down or change his course for anybody. And a tailback loves to see a guy like that in front of him.
Bucknell will still bookend the lines with Stover left side, Wilcox right side. They're in an eye. This time they'll try Lemon up the middle. Quick flag is down. Lemon will get close to first down yardage following Patrick Janssen. On the tackle for Colgate was Mike Burton. But again, a flag was down early, and from where it is, I would think Bucknell will be called for a hold. And they will. So it'll be 2nd down and about 15 coming up after the 10-yard penalty being marched from the spot, and I would think that it would be about the line of scrimmage.
And Norris Wilson, the offensive line coach, took his headsets off. He wants to find out who's guilty of holding. All offensive line coaches want to know who's guilty of the infraction, because he's going to have some words with them on the sideline. Keep the hands inside. This is not necessary to tackle any of these defensive linemen out there right now. Rich Lemon had a good head of steam. He's got a little momentum carrying the football right now. Jeremy Myers doing a great job of lead blocking. Just control this football into the wind. Try to get 7 points the hard way here.
2nd down now, back to the 39. So Bucknell looking at a 2nd and 15. Rocket to the left. Again, double tight ends, backs in an eye. This time Fox will bootleg out to the right side, dump it in the flat to Wilcox, who had to leave his feet to catch the ball. It's a pickup of only about 3, and it'll be a 3rd down coming up in about 12. And Bucknell ran the play nicely, but the pass was not there to be able to sustain it.
And remember, I said that Jim Fox was carrying out his play fakes on some of these simple slant runs. Very good, almost to the extreme, setting up that bootleg, and they ran it there, not for a lot of yards, but the play was there simply because of him carrying out fundamentals early in the first quarter.
8:25 to go in the half. 7-0 Bucknell. The Bison 1 out of 4 on 3rd downs. Rocket wide to the left side. Again, they play with double tight ends. Myers and Lemon in the eye behind Fox. 4-man line for Colgate. Fox will toss the ball left side to Lemon. Has some blocks. Will get out to midfield. A pickup of about 7, but it'll still leave Bucknell 4 yards short, and they'll have to punt for the first time into the wind today.
You see how the wind really changes your thinking here. Bucknell probably on 3rd and 11 this year has run the ball maybe 5% of the time. Normally they're in an eagle set or at least a 3-wide receiver set. They're putting the ball down the field. Tom Gadd with the 7-point lead right here doesn't want to do anything stupid, have that ball get caught up in the wind, maybe get it picked off, give Colgate a chance to return it.
4th down and 5 for the Bison. Lennox to snap, Miller to kick it away. Back in single safety now is Rob Howard. And it's a low kick. It'll bounce at the 25, roll inside the 20, inside the 15. And it wasn't Howard. It was Aaron Bird-Leitner that was back there instead of Howard back in single safety. 21, not 31, and the Bison get a break on the roll.
And Rich Miller and Tom Gadd giving each other 5 right there, because that's really a very good kick into this win. You get the roll, you get the plus yards. That's a great job in transition here in field position under these kind of conditions.
35-yard punt for Miller, and I think one of the reasons why it was effective, you generally don't want line drive kicks, but when you have such a stiff wind, you do, because if you get them high in the air, they're going to get caught up.
Yeah, they get caught up and they're in the air too long to get blown back.
Prosciutto remains the quarterback for Colgate. Backs in an offset eye as they begin things on their own 12. They'll toss it to Caravetta, who will run to the right side. Caravetta will be forced out at about the 14 or 15-yard line. Gain of about 3, 2nd and 7 coming up for Colgate. Bison do a very good job of pursuit, of going sideline to sideline with their defensive quickness, and teams have had trouble catching the corner on the Bison this year. Down to 7:20 to go in the first half. 7-0 in favor of Bucknell if you're just joining us. After a bad snap on a punt, Bucknell took over at the Colgate 18. 3 plays, 30 seconds later, Lemon was over the goal line, And that's all the scoring we have today. 2nd and 7. Prosciutto play fakes to Caravetta, rolls left, looking to throw on the run, throws it to O'Flynn, and Willie Hill does a great job of knocking the ball away from him. Pass was out to about the 18-yard line. Wouldn't have been good enough for a first down, but Hill played the ball very nicely and forced the incompletion.
When they run that bootleg like that, it's very difficult for Ian Prosciutto to throw that football. He's so right-handed, he's got to turn his body, throw across his body. Very difficult to throw an accurate pass, and they've really covered O'Flynn very well here today. They've blanketed him. He hasn't been open at all, and the one pass he did catch, he was really covered very well.
O'Flynn came in with 93 career receptions. Only 4 Colgate players have had 100 or more. He is the all-time leader at tight end. There are 3 wide receivers who are in front of him. 3rd down and 7. Colgate looking to convert or have to punt out of their own end zone. Prosciutto rushed out of the pocket. Feely hits him as he throws and forces an incompletion. And now Colgate, with a very shaky punting game, will bring on either Eric Gordon or Joe Osecki to punt out of their own end zone. We'll see who it'll be.
It is such a bonus when your nose tackle, who plays as well against the run as Pat Feely does, is equally effective rushing the passer. That time, early penetration, forcing Prosciutto to throw out of his end zone close to a safety situation.
High pass from center, but Gordon able to pull it down. His line drive kick will bounce at the 50 and roll into Bucknell territory and take a right turn and go out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Not pretty, but effective that time for Eric Gordon, who has punted the last 2 times. 50 yards on the punt that time for Gordon.
That's a great transition punt right there, gaining a lot of field position on that play, forcing Bucknell here to look at 65 yards of turf in order to get a score. But I look for them to run Richie Lemon into the line and run Richie Lemon into the line until he really has to be taken out almost. I think they're going to play it very close to the vest. Sikowski, the only wide receiver here, very tight formation.
They're again going with the double tight ends, Baxton and I. Colgate now jumps into a 5-man line against this power formation for Bucknell. 1st and 10, Lemon up the middle. Lemon will get the better part of 5 out across the 40, and you can hear that wind whipping on the crowd mic, giving you a feeling for what it feels like to be here. And Brian, the only thing I can say is that it's not overly cold. It's coming out of the south. It's cold, but not as bad as it could be if the wind was coming from the other direction.
Oh, it's balmy compared to what it could be right now. And really, you see a lot of guys out there with half shirts on and sleeveless because the temperature isn't the factor right now. It's the wind that's really causing all the havoc. 2nd and 5, Fox to Lemon again. Lemon will get about 2 or 3. Trying the left side. On the tackle was Mike Burton again for Colgate. And now Bucknell will have it. 3rd down and about 2.5 to go for a first down. And I don't think you're going to try anything tricky. I think we'll see the same thing again. Bucknell overall this year on 3rd down is completing about 36% of those 3rd downs, which puts them pretty high in the Patriot League rankings in that department. That's a very good percentage for any football team. And they got to convert this right now because they do not want to give Colgate a chance with that win to put something on the board.
3rd and 3, Lemon averaging 4.7 yards a carry. He'll carry the football, and he'll not get the first down. He gets just 2. Joe Castana, the defensive end from behind, grabs him and knocks him down, and Bucknell will have to punt on 4th and 1 from just short of their own 45-yard line. Lemon on the day now, 17 carries for 77 yards.
And if I was Colgate, I would send my block unit in there right now. I would go after this punt and put as much pressure on Miller as possible. Force him to shank a bad punt into this win.
4th and 1. Lennox to snap. Corey Hill in single safety for the Red Raiders. And Miller will punt the ball again low. It's going to bounce to Colgate 36, but take a sideways roll. And Charles Crudup will down it there. And Colgate will start in decent field position at their own 36-yard line after just a 20-yard punt by Rich Miller. I know you probably don't want to give up the 5 yards, but just a yard to go, that might be a situation where you might have wanted to try to draw him offside, see if you could trick him into giving you a first down. But again, you don't want to take the 5-yard penalty and kick you into the wind.
5 yards right now with this kind of wind is seems like about 10 or 15 yards.
5:10 to go in the half, still 7-0 in favor of Bucknell. Prosciutto has gone all the way in the second quarter at quarterback. He'll sprint out to his left side, stop, throw. J.J. Hope will make the catch at the 42. Terrence Parham and Jack Boyle there to make the stop. Pickup of 6. 2nd and 4 coming up. And generally, aren't quarterbacks more confident rolling to the side they throw? They've rolled out Prosciutto more left than they have right this afternoon.
I think the only time he rolled out right was when he was under pressure by Feely or one of the defensive linemen of Bucknell. But I think they wanted to go to the wide side of the field, and it just seems like the wide side is to his left right now.
But now the wide side is to his right as the ball in the near hash mark. Hope and Hill both go wide to the right. The tight end O'Flynn is on the left side. Backs line up in an I. Bucknell in a four-man line. Persciuta will hand the ball to Smith. Smith will try the right side. He'll lose yardage. It'll now be third down and about 5. Brandon Little, we called his name a lot this afternoon, makes the stop. Brandon, again, a converted safety, has really taken this outside linebacker spot.
When running backs try to go east-west against this defense, they are in for a futile affair, a bad afternoon, because this team really pursues well. Colgate's offensive line, we talked about, isn't very good, and one of the signs that you look for a line that's not very good or athletic is they cut block a lot. And they're really chopping down on the line right now at Bucknell, and that's what's creating a lot of these altercations at the end of plays.
Colgate has spent a timeout. We'll take it. 3:56 to go in the period. 7-0 Bucknell. You're listening to Bucknell football on the Bison Sports Network. Colgate looking at a third down and a long 4. The ball at their own 42. They need to get to the 46 for a first down. Persciuta under center, one back, that's Smith. Persciuta back to pass, throws it underneath, and it's incomplete, intended for Corey Hill. A bullet pass would have been good enough for a first down. Rob Bird, the closest defender for Bucknell, and the Bison have forced another Eric Gordon punt here. Mike Phillips dropping into single safety, 10 men at the line for Bucknell.
Not a very creative offense as he really tries to force a lot of his passes into double coverage as they only send out 2 receivers on most patterns right now.
Fluttered snap, but Gordon runs it down and gets a high kick spinning. Phillips will let it go, and it'll go into the end zone with the wind and another touchback. None of these punters have been too deft at knocking it down inside the 10. I guess the closest we had was that ball of Miller's that just couldn't quite catch the 1-yard line. And Bucknell will start at the 20 with 3 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in half number 1. And the score is 7-0 in favor of Bucknell.
It's just a big wind tunnel out there. You just put that ball up in the air, and it just carries forever. Gordon is nothing special in punting. In fact, his technique looks really shoddy. But he just put that ball in the air and it went into the end zone like nothing.
But he's punted with the wind 3 times and has punts of 40, 50, and 58 yards. But again, with a touchback, you can really minus 20 off that every time. First and 10, Bucknell at their own 20. Sikowski in motion. They play with double tight ends. Toss it to Lemon. He'll go to the left side, get a block, turn the corner, and get about 5 yards. He'll be run out of bounds at about the 25, so Bucknell will have 2nd and 5. Good pickup on first down.
It seems like you can dial number 28 up every play and get 5 yards, but they just haven't been able to sustain it, as I think the longest drive they've had today is only 5 plays. So, I mean, Tom Gadd's got to be really upset right now with the overall performance of the offense, not being able to sustain anything against a defense that has given up a lot of points and over 450 yards on every Saturday afternoon.
Bucknell has picked up 4 yards or more on 8 of 11 first down plays. They have a 2nd and 5. They'll run it to Lemon, and Lemon on 2nd down will pick up 3. Adam Sofrin will knock him down. So now the Bison will have another 3rd down to convert, a 3rd and 2. From the 28, they need to get to a 30 for the first down.
And a little new wrinkle in this offense today is that they've been pulling the guards and leading the sweep with the guard and the fullback. That time, Jason Donkers and Jeremy Myers together pulled around the left side, and it look like the old USC tailback left and tailback right play.
Officials have called timeout, but it's certainly not close enough to measure. The ball is back at the 28, and the first down line is the 30. Bucknell just 1 out of 6 on 3rd down conversions this afternoon.
I think Lemon was shaken up on the play as he's limping off the field kind of gingerly right now. Nobody's going over to tend to him because I don't think it's a timeout.
19 for 85 is what Lemon has. 3:16 remaining in the half, 7-0 Bucknell. You're right, it was not a timeout. They stopped the clock just for him to come off the field. So now Chris Peer is in the game at tailback. Double tight end, Sikowski way wide to the right side. Myers in front of Peer. Hand off to the fullback Myers. Myers will plow his way outside across the 30 to the 31 or 32. Good hard running by the freshman out of New Galilee, Pennsylvania. And with 2:59 to go, Bucknell will try to control the clock in the latter stages here of quarter number 2 and maybe methodically control their way downfield and put in a score before the end of the period.
I don't think they really want to be forced to put the ball in the air right now. They still only have Sikowski in at wide receiver and a double tight end look here and a fullback at tailback. So very conservative, very tight formation.
5 seconds. Bucknell's going to have to hurry to get the play off. 3, 2, 1. They do get it. Fox back to pass, throws it right side for Sikowski, and he had Sikowski open at the 40, but the ball fluttered and the wind knocked it down. Didn't even reach John, incomplete.
Yeah, and I don't think Tom Gadd liked the look of that play at all and the way that ball floated. I'd be surprised if he puts the ball up in the air here, although we see Steve Noteboom going into the action right now and Cal Wilcox coming out.
So they will go with 2 receivers, just 1 tight end, as Ted Stover will remain in the game. Glad you're with us on the Bison Sports Network, WTGC and WCXR Lewisburg, and WWPA in Williamsport. 2nd and 10. Backs in an offset eye. Myers in front of Peer. Sikowski and Noteboom, 1 to the left, 1 to the right. Fox will hand it to Peer. Peer over the right side with running room across the 45, across the 35 out near the 40. Following a Ted Stover block, he'll pick up 7 or 8 yards. That'll be the longest run almost of the season for Peer. He had a 10-yard run against Lafayette, but this time good hard running for about 7 or 8 yards.
And just like we saw early in the second quarter or at the end of the first quarter, we saw Bucknell take timeouts, try to get the ball with the wind. Colgate has done the same thing here as it's 3rd and 3. They feel if they can stop them, a punt into the wind, they could have another chance. We
got a timeout, 2:18 to go, 7-0 Bucknell. You're listening to Bucknell football on the Bison Sports Network.
Casualty companies is just more reason to talk to Mike Sylvia for all of your insurance and financial services needs. Modern services, old-fashioned values. Mike Sylvia Insurance.
Here's to Jeremy Myers. Adam Sofran throws him out of bounds.
Fox on 3rd and short throws the ball to Myers, but it's short of the first down. He got wrestled out of bounds by Adam Sofran. It'll now be a 4th and 1 from the 41. And Bucknell into the wind is going to send the punting unit on with 2:11 to go, so Colgate will have one last chance at a 2-minute drill.
And that's an error by Myers, who's just a freshman, but he's got to get enough for the first down. And he was certainly stopped short right there. Now, Fox delivered a good pass on the play, but it's up to the receiver to make sure he gets enough for that first, so they're not put in this position of punting into the wind like this.
Lennox to snap, Miller to kick, and Bird Leitner to return this one for Colgate as they left their real defense on the field. Miller's kick will bounce at the 29-yard line and die there. Charles Crudup will down at 30 yards on the kick for Rich Miller. Colgate will have 2 minutes and 2 seconds and a timeout, or actually two timeouts remaining to move down the field if they can.
That was a great kick by Rich Miller there into this kind of a win. He kept the ball low. He got a spiral. It came off his foot real hard and didn't hang up in the air very long. That's just smart, good football by Rich Miller.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for Colgate at their own 29. Prosciutto will go out of the shotgun this time. First time we've seen that today. 2 backs with him in the backfield. Prosciutto back to pass, throws it over the middle. Making the catch is Hope at the 32 on a crossing route. He'll give up a yard trying to turn the corner. Great tackle by George Hawanitz. And it'll be a pickup of 3 for Colgate, and it's 2nd and 7 coming up.
Great tackle by Hawanitz, because if he doesn't make that tackle, Hope probably turns the corner and maybe even gets out of bounds on that play, picking up 10 or 15 yards.
Clock running, 1:40 and counting to go in the half. No score. It's going to be 7-0 to score. Colgate is yet to score. Hill to the right. To the left side, it's Hope. Caravetta, the tailback. Smith lines up as the fullback. Prosciutto looking over a possible blitz. They come. Prosciutto back to pass, has time, throws it long over the middle, overthrows the intended receiver, Corey Hill. Musi and Miller had coverage. It's incomplete, 3rd and long now for Colgate.
And it's a good thing Prosciutto got that ball off when he did, because Rob Bird was coming, and he would have put a big hit on him had he held onto that ball for another count.
Down to 1:20 to go, and Bucknell could very easily see the football with about a minute to go left in the half.
A lot of change of possessions here.
Been a number of possessions, a lot of 3-and-outs, as teams have had trouble negotiating the territory with the stiff wind. 2 receivers to the right for Colgate on 3rd down and 8. Prosciutto back to pass, rush comes, throws it over the middle, and underthrows the receiver Hill. He wants an interference call against Burb. That ball certainly not catchable. And Bucknell's going to get the football back, as coming on to punt again will be Eric Gordon with the win. Mike Phillips will stand at his own 30 to await the kick. And with 1:16 to go, Bucknell will have more than a minute left to work offensively at the end of the half here.
Rob Bird, the senior middle linebacker for the Bison, leading the team in tackles. What more can that guy do? 22 tackles for the last 2 weeks in a row right now, covering wide receivers coming across the middle, blitzing, making tackles sideline to sideline. He's doing it all.
Colgate's punt team is pointing who they want to block. They're adjusting some people. It's a bad snap. Gordon will try to run the football, and Gordon is going to pass the ball, throws it to Sofrin. It's not going to be a first down, and Bucknell is going to take over on downs at the Colgate 31. It is a break for Colgate, and that Gordon was able to at least advance the ball downfield with a little flip pass to Adam Sofrin. But still, Bucknell, for the second time today, gets a botched kick, not to count the one block punt they've had, but a botched kick where they don't even get the kick off, and they get in great field position at the 32.
For the second time today, the snap to the punter was just awful. It was nowhere near in the vicinity of Gordon there to be able to pick it up and punt it. And so Bucknell with a big break here with a minute to go, a chance to get some points on the board.
They'll take over at the Colgate 32-yard line. Backs are split. Lemon back in the game. Fox with time throws downfield to Perkins. It's in and out of his hands, incomplete at the 13. Clock stopped with 1:03 to go. Bucknell in front 7-0 with a chance here, even though they're against the win at the Colgate 32, to really make this a huge lead of more than one score at the intermission.
And the Colgate defense is led by the senior safety, Rob Howard. He's an All Patriots Scholastic team member, and he really played that well as Perkins was double covered on that play. It wasn't really a bad pass by Fox. I think Perkins had a chance to catch that ball.
Second down now and 10 for the Bison, still at the 32 of Colgate. Three wide receivers, back split. Fox back to pass, looking to throw, blitzed and sacked by Joe Castana. For Castana, that is his 3rd.5 sack this season. And Bucknell will be back out to the 39-yard line, a loss of about 8 on the play. And down to 50 seconds to go in the half, and now Bucknell might want to think about just running out the half.
And Patrick Janssen, the right guard right there, was responsible for Castana on that play. As Miziak blocked down, he's got to come out and pick him up. I think he was slow getting out of the blocks, or he just didn't see him, as Castana had a free run at Jim Fox right there. The play looked a lot uglier than it needed to be.
If Colgate can stop Bucknell on 3rd down here, they might spend a timeout, and now Bucknell is going to take a timeout. We'll take it with them. 22 seconds to go in the half, 7-0 Bison. You're listening to Bucknell Football on the Bison Sports Network. Bucknell with just 2 first downs in the second quarter. 22 seconds remain in the half. They lead 7-0 and will stare at a 3rd down and about 17 to go for a first down. Ball on the 39. They need to get to the 22 for a first down. Fox under center, back split, 3 wide receivers in the game for the Bison. Fox on a straight drop, has some time. Fox throws it left side to Perkins, who catches the ball and skips out of bounds to stop the clock with 16 seconds to go, but short of the first down. The Bison will pick up 15 of the 17, and now will leave the offense on the field with 16 seconds to go. The ball inside the 25 at the 24, and they'll look at a 4th and 2.
When Jim Fox has time to throw as he did last time, and part of the reason why he had time was during that timeout, Norris Wilson pulled the entire offensive line over and chewed all of them out. And Fox had time. When he has time and he sets his feet against any winter condition, he can deliver the football.
4th and 2, Fox right side has the pass knocked down at the line of scrimmage, and Colgate is held on downs. They'll take over with 13 seconds to go in the half. 1st and 10 for Colgate at their own 24-yard line.
And that was Joe Castana again, who is a 3-year starter at the defensive line position. And he's the captain, and really a big play right there as he batted that ball down. We've seen Fox have some trouble this year from time to time with balls that are knocked down at the line of scrimmage.
13 seconds to go in the half, and if you're Colgate, you just fall on the ball here and take your 7-0 deficit and go into the locker room?
I think that's what they're going to do, but if I was them, I'd take a shot. I'd take Hill or one of the wide receivers right now. I'd send them deep.
Rashuda under center. 1st and 10 at their own 24. They'll hand the ball to Caravetta. Caravetta will break a couple of tackles. Look like Bucknell was going for the strip there and may have knocked the football loose. The clock will stop with 5 seconds to go, and Bucknell has forced the 3rd turnover of the half. And we'll see if Bucknell, with 5 seconds left, will take one shot at the end zone.
I see Noteboom and Sikowski heading out onto this into this series, and here comes O.J. Perkins. So they're going with their 3 wide receivers here, along with Wilcox and Lemon, and they're going to put it up in the air and go for one shot. They've got nothing to lose. That's what I thought Colgate had, also nothing to lose. But
did you catch who came up with a football? Was it Berman? Was it LeBrecq?
I couldn't tell. It was just such a pile right there. It looked like it was a late fumble, too. I didn't see the ball come out.
Bucknell went for the strip. They gave up some yardage and came up with the football. 1st and 10 from the 33, 1 play left in the half. Fox throws it. Sikowski makes the catch. It's the hook and lateral, but he flattles it over the head of Lemon, and it's out of bounds, and the half will end. Great idea by the Bison. Sikowski caught it and tried to pitch it to a trailer. Oklahoma beat Nebraska on that play about in 72 or 3 with Elvis Peacock, the trailer, catching it and running in for a touchdown. And that was the idea. Use Lemon as the trailer, throw it short of the goal line, and almost worked.
Great call. Good execution up into the lateral by Sikowski, who's had Eric Gordon and some coaches working on catching the football in this win. He had a problem with that in the first half as they really miscued on a couple of punt opportunities, and Bucknell took advantage and scored their first and only touchdown as a result.
Justin Archer will kick off. He'll have to have some help holding the ball at the 35. O.J. Perkins and Terrence Parham back to return it. And the last time, Colgate just came out of this scramble and came up and ran to the line. They'll do that again as Archer will kick off. With the wind, the kick is going to sail halfway into the end zone, and Perkins will let it go over his head out of bounds, and Bucknell will take it at the 20.
I'm always curious to see the type of changes and things that go on inside the locker room at halftime and what coaches do to change up from the first half. Very little success offensively for Bucknell as a team, although Richie Lemon had nice statistics. It'll be interesting to see what they do here from the get-go differently into this win than what they tried in the first half.
So we're just set to go. Officially, the half has not started yet. The clock still says 15, as the clock wouldn't move until somebody touched it. Bucknell will open with 2 receivers to the left side. That's Nopum and Sikowski. Backs in an offset eye, and Lemon will get the first handoff. Lemon over the right side for about 4, out to the 24-yard line. On the tackle for the Colgate Red Raiders was Mike Burton. We called his name quite a bit this afternoon. Also was Adam Sofrin, another linebacker, and we've talked about this throughout the first half. Lemon has been able to get about 4.5 yards every time he touches the football. They just had trouble. There's usually one clinker in there of about 2 yards that avoids him from just walking down the field.
I think Tom Gadd really addressed the whole offense like, we are a better football team than we showed. We're better than this group up in front of us. Let's go show them in the second half. I saw the attitude coming out of the huddle the last 2 plays, charging up to the line of scrimmage.
2nd down and 5. Lemon will run in the middle of the line again. He'll get 3, maybe 4 yards. Nothing fancy. Straight at the middle. They've got the ball on the right hash mark. And again, Burton on the tackle. Castana also there for Colgate. And now Bucknell with a very workable 3rd, and 2 to go for the first down.
And I think that if there is going to be a change, it's going to be attitudinal. And that's really what has to take place right here. This win can cause havoc if you want it to. It can be used as an excuse if you let it. And right now, Bucknell has to be bigger and stronger than this win and be more determined.
3rd and 2, they'll toss it to Lemon. 3rd consecutive play, gets a block. 30-35 out to the 40-yard line. And Lemon will pick up a dozen and move the sticks. And he now has 112 yards on the day on 22 carries. It's the 24th time in his career out of 32 games that Lemon has had 100 or more.
And I think the telling picture of that particular play was the freshman right guard, Patrick Janssen, laying on top of the free safety, Rob Howard, on that play. Downfield, burying him, trying to get an extra block, a little extra effort here. I think they're going to keep the ball on the ground and churn it out.
7-0 Bucknell, early stages, 3rd quarter. Twin set, wide to the left side. Fox will give it to Lemon again. Lemon will carry, and this time will be lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. We'll call it no gain for Lemon. Castana was there for the Red Raiders. Also, Jeff Bentz, the defensive tackle, made a help as well.
We've called the captain's name out, Joe Castana, quite a bit this afternoon as he flip-flops sides depending on the strength of the Bucknell offensive line. And he's really done quite a job rushing the passer and against the run.
Sikowski wide to the left, Nopum to the right. Myers in the offset eye in front of Lemon. 12:50 to go in the 3rd. Fox will play fake to Lemon. Back to pass. Throws it short right side, and once again the wind holds the ball up. And Ted Stover, the tight end, the intended receiver, tried to dive back for it, but couldn't come up with it. It'll now be 3rd down and 10 from the 40-yard line. And Bucknell will bring O.J. Perkins and Chris Peer back into the game. Tight end Ted Stover will come out. Jeremy Myers will come out at fullback. So Bucknell with a smaller, quicker lineup in as they try to convert 3rd and long.
Now, I think the key to converting these pass plays downfield, we've seen Jim Fox throw the ball with authority into this win. You just have to have him in a very, very comfortable pocket, let him set his feet and throw it.
3rd and 10, Bucknell with a back split. Hand off to Lemon, flag down, and it's down before the play even started. Somebody must have moved. So Bucknell, instead of having 3rd and 10 from the 40, will have to negotiate a 3rd and 15 from their own 35.
There was an illegal procedure on that play, and really kind of surprising. In this type of conditions, normally it's very, very difficult to hear. because of the wind, the voice is being drowned out by the wind, and thus you have to almost look at the football like you're playing in a crowd noise type situation, and usually that results in a lot of illegal procedures. We've seen very few so far this afternoon.
Bucknell with just 3 penalties for 20 yards this afternoon. Colgate has just had 2 for 20, so not a lot of penalties in this game. 3rd and 15. Perkins to the left, Nopum and Sikowski to the right. And the backs are split. Bucknell will play without a tight end. Fox under center, Lennox over the ball. Long count, Fox back to pass, has time, 4-man rush for Colgate. And now at the last minute, the pass protection breaks down and forces Fox to throw it at the feet of the safety valve, Chris Pear. It's incomplete. And now Rich Miller will have to punt on 4th and 15 into the wind. Miller punting for the 6th time this afternoon and done a pretty good job, especially into the wind. He's been averaging about 30 yards into the wind, averaging 37.5 on the day overall.
And George Hogan was in at the right guard in that situation where he has to pop out in order to block Castagna, and they've done that a couple times this afternoon. They're too late getting there, and he's putting too much early pressure.
Colgate goes for the block. It's a low line driving kick. It'll bounce the 45, take a great roll inside the 35. It'll be down at the 31 by Charles Crudup. I don't know how Colgate didn't get to it. There were a lot of maroon shirts chasing after Miller, but it looked like the ball went right through one of their hands.
I don't know what it says exactly about what kind of afternoon we've had, but Rich Miller is certainly the offensive player of the game today. He's done a fantastic job of kicking under really bad conditions out here this afternoon.
34 yards punting into a 35-mile-an-hour gale. Miller this season is averaging just 35.5, so to come up with about his average on a day like this is phenomenal. Mark Lindell back in the game for Colgate here on their first possession in the 3rd quarter. He played the 1st quarter. Lindell back to pass, throws it over the middle. Smith makes the catch at the 35. Haggerty misses a tackle, and that allows Smith to scamper for more yardage and a 1st down out to the 43. It'll be a gain of 12 or 13 for Colgate, and Bucknell should have wrapped him up for a very short gain of about 5 yards. But again, poor tackling. One of the few times we've seen that all season allows a big gainer for Colgate.
This offense is charged up right now. I think they must be rotating these quarterbacks by quarter as Lindell starts the 3rd quarter. And Rob Bird just got bumped downfield by Fred Monfort, the right guard for Colgate, and got sent flying late in that play.
1st and 10, Colgate at their own 43. Lindell will hand to the fullback Smith. Smith will spin across the line to the 46. He'll pick up 2, maybe 3 yards. We'll call it 2nd and 7 coming up for the Red Raiders. 1st quarter that Lindell has had against the wind. He had the wind at his back in the 1st quarter that he played. Excuse me, he went against the wind
in the 1st quarter. Because
right, this is the first time he's had it at his back. I'll get it straight.
He was supposed to have it at his back to start the game, but they couldn't make the right decision at the coin flip.
2nd down and a long 7 to go for a 1st down. 5-man line for the Bison. Lindell will roll to the left side, turn, throw back to the right side, gets it to the tight end O'Flynn, makes the catch in the backfield, runs up the right side, has 1st down yardage inside the 45 to the 44. It'll be a pickup of 11, and it's good enough for another Colgate 1st down. 11-12 to go in the 3rd. Bucknell hanging on precariously 7-0.
And Ed Sweeney really setting up his offense as we talked about in the 1st quarter. Joe O'Flynn staying in to block on certain passing situations where he should be out as a receiver, but setting up this Bucknell defense, staying in, and then releasing on a tight end screen like it did last play. Nice game.
They also set up that play with another wrinkle. I'll get to it in a moment. 1st and 10, they'll run Smith up the middle. Smith with 5. Smith with 7 yards. He'll run inside the 40 to about the 37-yard line. See where they're going to finally mark him down. They may have set his knee touchdown at the 38-yard line. But they also have been rolling the quarterback out away from his throwing motion to the left side on a number of plays, and they did that again and then threw back against the grain to the right side on that play to O'Flynn. 2nd down and 4 after the gain of 6 officially to Smith on the pass. Lindell brings him to the line quickly and then hands the ball off to Smith. Smith will go over the 35, inside the 30, still on his feet, inside the 25, rumbling and stumbling his way close to the 20-yard line. Eric Musi finally makes the tackle, a huge gainer for the running back Damon Smith, who was running very, very hard here this afternoon.
Yeah, let's give some credit now to the offensive line of Colgate as they've come out, really taking charge of the line of scrimmage here. Repeatedly, we've seen them pull the backside guard and tackle Cedric Bodway and Tim Gerard, and they did a nice job of really kind of overloading the right side of the Bucknell defense and just pounding them with a lot of double teams and some extra pulling guards.
16 yards. He's now had 18 carries for 75 yards. Smith out of the fullback spot will carry again. He'll get about 3 before he stood up in the middle of the line. And it'll be 2nd and 7. Colgate will have the ball at the 19 of Bucknell, with really their best opportunity to score since Bucknell fumbled the opening kickoff at their own 30-yard line.
A consistent reaction of Damon Smith running the football is as soon as he gets hit, he spins. And when he spins, he keeps his feet moving. He picks up an extra yard or 2. He's built low to the ground, only 5'10", but 215 solid pounds.
Smith out of the game. They bring DJ Huff in the game now at fullback. Jamal Patterson, the tailback, to 16 yards 2 plays ago. Colgate's longest play of the day. 2nd and 7. They'll run Patterson the tail, left side. Patterson running inside the 10, inside the 5, down to the 4. Colgate is just taking Bucknell to task at the line of scrimmage, running them and plowing inside the 5 to the 4. They got a 1st and goal, and Patterson and Smith both getting a good head of steam up.
And not fancy football, old hog football from the Redskins. Interesting enough, the athletic director for Colgate is Mark Murphy, who played on a couple of those Redskin teams in the early 80s when they would run Riggins behind that big offensive line, running similar plays.
8:50 to go in the 3rd quarter. Colgate 1st and goal at the Bucknell 4. Patterson over the left side. Patterson down to the 2, maybe down to the 1. Brandon Little finally made the tackle, but the Red Raiders will be inside the 1, getting set to possibly tie this football game up.
And the way to stop that play is they just ran it again for about the 4th play in a row now. The way to stop that play is by running the inside linebackers through behind it and creating chaos in the backfield, because it takes a while for that play to develop. If you can get to the running back with penetration early by the linebacker, you can disrupt the whole flow.
Double tight ends, Baxton and I. Huff in front of Patterson. Lindell, the quarterback, hands it to Patterson. Right side, Patterson will fight his way to the goal line. He's in, and Colgate is within a point with 8:05 to go in the 3rd on the 1-yard run by Patterson.
And George Juanis had a chance to make that play into backfield as he had him wrapped up, but he was unable to bring him down at the 2-yard line, and he continued to spin and turn his legs and walk in with second effort for the 6 points.
Colgate will send Adam Federico out for the extra point. Colgate did not go to 3rd down on that drive at all, and Federico's extra point is blocked. The ball is batted in the air, and that's a foolish play by the Bison, because Colgate could have come up with the 2-point conversion if the ball had been fumbled and recovered in the end zone. But it goes out of the end zone, and Bucknell will lead 7-6. We've got a break in the action. The Bison by 1. You're listening to Bucknell football on the Bison Sports Network.
Beer to snack. Bison Beverage, 11.
Colgate within a point at 7-6. The Red Raiders had 70 yards on that drive. They had only 124 in the entire first half. Deep kick with the win. Perkins takes it at the goal line and gets out to about the 14. So Bucknell will start it in mediocre field position. A 9-play, 70-yard drive, 4:20 off the clock, and Colgate within 1 at 7-6 with 7:58 to go in quarter number 3. And Brian, one of the better drives we've seen all season against the Bison. Nothing fancy.
Nothing fancy, but what they did is what Bucknell was going to try to do on this drive, is that they were just consistent. They didn't try to overpower anybody. They didn't try to do anything fancy. They just took what the defense gave them. They were a little determined up front to knock some people off the football. They held on to the ball, and they kept things going. They didn't beat themselves.
1st and 10 for Bucknell at their own 14. Fox to Lemon. Lemon may get to the 15, and that is it. Mike Burton again on the tackle from his inside linebacker spot from the Colgate defense. It'll be a short gain of maybe a yard or 2 at most.
And Bucknell starting this offensive drive from their own 14-yard line because of the fantastic special team play by the tailback Brian Owens of Colgate, as he almost beat the ball down the field and created disruption right at the point when O.J. Perkins caught the football.
Brian Owens out of Massachusetts, a guy that is expected to join the hockey team once the football season is over. 2nd and 8. Fox tosses to Lemon right side, gets a Myers block. Out to the 20-yard line, breaks another tackle to the 25, to the near sideline, out to the 30-yard line. A flag is down. See who it's going to go against. Karimsky pushed him out of bounds late at the 31-yard line after Lemon had scampered for 15 yards. And maybe somebody was holding or an illegal block in back of the play. And it will be a block in the back called against Bucknell, so hold everything on the 1st down. It'll go against the Bison.
That's too bad, because Rich Lemon went over the 100-yard mark on that play all on his own effort. He broke a number of tackles, and I didn't see any kind of an illegal clip that freed him for more yards. And it was late. It was after he'd broken the line of scrimmage and was downfield doing it on his own when somebody pushed him.
So the penalty will come from about the 27-yard line is where they're going to mark it off, and they're going to mark it back to the 18-yard line. So the down will go over. It'll be second down now and 6. They'll give Lemon 10 yards on the run.
And Noteboom and Sikowski have come into the game. Maybe it's going to be a pass here with the 2 wide receivers coming in. And I think Jim Fox throws the ball fine in this win as long as his pocket is clean and he's able to set up and really set his feet and throw it.
6:50 to go in the third. 7-6 Bucknell in front. Fox to the run. Lemon tries the right side, and in the backfield, Adam Sofrin will knock him down. It'll be a loss of about a yard, and now Bucknell will have a 3rd down and 7 to go for the first down.
And you can kind of feel things around here getting a little edgy on the Bucknell side, and Bucknell knowing that if they can hold them on this 3rd down, punting into this terrible wind, that the momentum could be changing in this ball game.
Colgate on their only drive of the 3rd quarter marched at 70 yards in 9 plays, had the extra point blocked, and Bucknell still hanging on by 1, 7-6. Bison will break the huddle on 3rd down and a long 6. Noteboom to the left, Sikowski to the right. Backs in an eye. Fox will run it again to Lemon. Lemon left side, 20, 25. Breaks a tackle to the 30, to the far sideline, to the 40, to the 45, to midfield. It's the longest run of the day for Rich Lemon. Out to the 49-yard line of Colgate, and on a 3rd and a long 6, it couldn't have come at a better time. 32 yards on the run for Rich Lemon.
I think Rich Lemon might have one of those radio helmets where he was listening to me in his ear saying, oh, Colgate might be getting the momentum. Colgate might be getting back into this football game. He had something to say about it, as if he was shaken up in that first half, it was shaken off by the time he scampered on the left side there. Really turned the corner with a lot of authority.
Huge run for Lemon. He's now up to 155 yards within 11 yards of breaking the 2-game record held since 1952 by Bert Talmadge. Jeremy Myers will carry the ball in the middle. Good hard running from the 49 down to the 45. A gain of 4 for the Bison freshman fullback on 1st down. 2nd and 6 coming up. And you can feel the wind now beginning to shake the press box a little bit here at Andy Kerr Stadium. 2nd and 6 coming up for the Bison. Fox looking over to offensive coach Chris Turner, who wigwags the play in from Craig Maropoulos up in the booth. Bison in the huddle. They've got 10 seconds now to get to the line and snap the ball. 2nd and 6, Sikowski to the left. Noteboom to the right, backs in an eye. Play clock at 3. At 2, they get it off at 1. Peer, the tailback, will carry the ball, and Peer will fight for about 4 yards, close to the 41, and it'll leave Bucknell with a 3rd and 2, down to 5:10 to go in quarter number 3.
And that run off the left side that Richie Lemon just ripped 2 plays ago was really, really huge, because Colgate was really looking at a 3rd and 8 situation where if they could have contained him and held him and made them punt, it really could have changed the complexion of this ball game. Now Bucknell with a 3rd and 3, an opportunity to hold on to the football, chew some clock right here, and move some chains.
Noteboom and Sikowski wide to the right. The Bison playing with an unbalanced line, and now we'll switch the tight end Stover over to the left side. 3rd down and 3, and a flag will go, and Bucknell had 2 men in motion at the same time, so instead of 3rd and 3, it'll be 3rd and 8. They basically had an uncovered tackle on the left side, and that's why they had to move Stover over there. So a very costly play for the Bison to cost them 5 yards.
The communication in the huddle or in transition here from sending the plays from the booth to the sideline to the huddle has really been interfered with a bunch today, because that's the type of play that really handcuffs you. In that you got a 3rd and 3, you're probably going to run the football effectively, maybe 2-down territory. Now 3rd and 8, it may change the whole design of the play.
Bucknell is going to go with double tight ends, and they're going to bring wingback Ron Rocket into the game. 4.5 minutes to go in the 3rd. That's Bucknell going into the teeth of the wind. The 4th quarter, the Bison will have it. Teams should be able to dominate with the wind in this game. 3rd and 8. Fox play fakes to Lemon, bootlegs to the left side. He'll run it. Gets a block from Wilcox, but it wasn't sustained long enough. Kevin Karimsky able to fight inside it and make the tackle. It'll be a gain of 3 for Fox, but it'll still leave Bucknell 5 yards short of the first down, and Rich Miller will come on to punt again.
And Wilcox was his only target on that play. And normally when you throw bootleg plays, you usually have a short receiver and a deep receiver, you know, where you have an option of going short or deep. And on that play, there was only one receiver in the play, and he was fully covered, forcing Fox to run.
4th and 5, Miller to punt. The ball will come from the 45 on the snap from Lennox. Single safety, Corey Hill standing at the 20. Nice pass from center, big rush. Miller gets it away, low kick. It'll bounce the 25, roll inside the 25 to the 21. No return again. We'll call it a punt of 24 yards for Miller. Again, Colgate has not been able to return anything because Miller's had his punts hit, roll, and Colgate doesn't want to touch him. So Colgate will take over. 3.5 minutes to go in the third. They have the win.
And I noticed coming in at cornerback for this series for Bucknell is Willie Jackson. It's good to see Willie back out on the field. He played some last week, but really lost his starting job once he had the problem with the knee. But he's back out there playing corner right now on J.J. Hope.
Lindell brings him to the line. 1st and 10 on the Colgate 21. They'll hand the ball to Patterson. Patterson across the 20 out to about the 24-yard line. We'll call it a gain of 3. 2nd and 7 coming up for the Red Raiders. Patterson getting a little more carries as the game has moved along. Smith, we've seen him see action at both the tailback and the fullback spot this afternoon. Smith, their leading ball carrier, 19 carries for 77 yards.
At the risk of beating this dead horse, you know, this wind is playing such a factor out here today. And Colgate only with 3 minutes to go in this quarter, 3 minutes to go with the wind at their back. I look for them maybe to go up top here pretty soon.
2nd and 7, Lindell has him in an eye. Hope to the right side, handoff delay to Smith, and Smith may get a yard to the 25. There was no line surge at all that time for Colgate. The delay handoff as Smith took it, he was greeted by a lot of guys in white.
That was nothing but a quick trap inside, and Bucknell was all over that. I think that Coach Katulski really sat the defense down last series and said, hey, fellas, what's up? That was 70 yards on a drive, and they really, really punished you at the line of scrimmage. It's time to bone up right now. We got a break with them missing the extra point. We can still win this game if we just shut them out here.
3rd down and 6 for Colgate. Lindell sends 2 receivers to the left. He'll go back to pass. Flare it out right side to Caravetta, the running back. Makes the catch, but will not get the first down. He caught it at the 25. He'll be knocked down at about the 28. They needed to see the 31 for the first down. So Eric Gordon will come out to punt it away, and the Red Raiders will give up the football as Mike Phillips will go back to return.
And let's give credit to Eric Musi out there at the corner. That was a nice open field tackle, bringing him down before the first yard mark. He's not a big guy, but he went low with the tackle, was able to bring him down. Brandon Little limping off the field here at the end of that play, but he looks like he's going to be okay.
On the punt will be Eric Gordon, and he's done a pretty good job numbers-wise, punting with the wind. But again, Colgate has had a lot of problems just getting punts away. 4th and 2, nice pass from center. Rush comes, and Gordon kicks it. It's a low spiraling kick, and it's going to roll out of bounds at the Bucknell 25-yard line. 45 yards on the punt. Not pretty, but effective.
You know, it's ironic because at halftime today, they had a miniature punt, pass, and kick competition, and that punt right there was a line drive, a punt that usually scores pretty well in those competitions.
I think they had some of the parents out there, some of the dads punting for Colgate.
I heard Joe Castaña's dad out there with the punt, and it would pretty much look like Colgate's punt operation all day. It was kind of a wounded duck coming off his foot.
But a father has a reason. They don't practice much. 1st and 10 for Bucknell at their own 25. Myers in front of Lemon, twin set to the right side. Minute 55 to go in the third quarter. Fox will hand the ball to Lemon. Lemon up the middle, met by Burton, and we'll call it no gain. Sofrin also there to help out. 2nd and 10 coming up for the Bison offense. Down to a minute 45 to go in the third. 7-6 in favor of Bucknell. Just a typical Bucknell-Colgate game, Brian. They're always close, no matter who the favorite team is. Seems like it always comes down to the last minute.
And it never seems like when Bucknell should be using their opponent and really running things up on them, that they play down to their levels more often than not, and that's what they're doing here today.
2nd and 10, toss to Lemon, fumbled football. Colgate has it at the Bucknell 23-yard line. It was a botched pitch as Fox and Lemon did not execute the exchange. 3rd turnover of the afternoon, and Colgate will recover. Adam Sofrin comes up with the ball at the Bucknell 23-yard line.
We spent the entire pregame show, Bob, today discussing the rankings of the Bucknell defense and what they've done. 32 points total in the last 4 games given up. Ranked defensively, points, yards allowed, all that kind of stuff. Now is the time to rise to the occasion here. There's a minute and 18 seconds left in this quarter. If they can hold Colgate here to a field goal attempt, maybe at the other end during the next quarter, they could do their job.
Lindell to Smith. Smith breaks into the secondary. 20, 15, inside the 15 to the 13. He's got the first down and a gain of 11. Terrence Parham and Mark Miller make the tackle.
And
but Colgate is knocking on the door inside the 15. Minute 10 to go in the third quarter.
And they called a timeout.
I think the player was slow getting up. They
Okay.
stopped the clock to move the chains. Minute 7, minute 6. Colgate still with the win.
You'll see them use their timeouts if they need to in order to keep the wind at their back here and stay within this quarter.
58, 57 seconds to go in the third. Colgate backs in an offset eye. They'll hand the ball to the fullback, Smith. Stutter steps his way through the line, gets inside the 10, maybe to the 8. We'll call it a gain of 4. 47 seconds and counting to go in the third quarter.
Here
and
comes
Colgate on the turnover, set up in great shape, and a timeout is called by the Red Raiders with the wind. We'll take it with them. 7-6 Bucknell late in the third. You're listening to Bucknell football on the Bison Sports Network.
Want you to miss that tonight. 2 great games this afternoon. And more after the follow.
Colgate recovered a Bucknell fumble on the opening kickoff, and the Bison defense stiffened and held them on downs. Colgate recovers a fumble at the Bucknell 23. They have a second down and 6 at the 9-yard line. Backs in an eye, double tight ends, 40 seconds to go in the third. Handoff to Patterson. Patterson drives his way close to the 5. We'll call it a gain of 4, and Colgate will have a 3rd and 2 with 32 seconds to go in the third quarter. The clock running. Colgate has yet to spend a timeout. It looks like they're going to go without a huddle. Now Lindell looks at the sidelines, like, what do I want to do? And the Colgate coaching staff motioning them to get to the line. 18 seconds to go in the third quarter. It'll be 3rd down and 4 at the 6. It's down to 13 seconds to go in the third quarter with a win. Double tight ends, backs in an eye. Lindell with 8 seconds, 7. He'll hand the ball to Patterson. Patterson will run it to the 2, and that'll be it. 3, 2, 1, and that's the final play of the quarter. Colgate will either have a 1st and goal or a 4th and short when we return with the fourth quarter. It is Bucknell 7, Colgate 6. You're listening to Bucknell football on the Bison Sports Network.
It's located just a half mile from the campus on Route 15, so you are right here.
We begin quarter number 4 with Bucknell in front, 7-6. Colgate has a 4th and a foot from the 2-yard line. They have a choice of basically a field goal at extra point distance or going for the first down. It looks like they've left the offense on the field to go for
Bob,
it.
there's no decision to be made here. This is an 0-9 football team. Haven't won a game since they beat Bucknell last year 31-7. They want an opportunity right now where a field goal can't beat them. If they kick a field goal right now, Bucknell could come down with the win at their back, kick a field goal in this game, and possibly win it with that. They want to make sure that they need a touchdown against them to at least go back up on top.
Glad you're with us on the Bison Sports Network, WTGC and WCXR Lewisburg, WWPA in Williamsport. 4th and a foot for Colgate. Lindell has him in the huddle. The Red Raiders trying to keep their drive alive and possibly take the lead here. Colgate now will go into the wind, and they weren't even thinking field goal. You wonder why they didn't use some of their timeouts to keep the win at their back on the duration of the drive. They'll go with double tight ends, backs in an eye, Smith in front of Patterson. Lindell on a quarterback sneak. It's going to be close, but I think he should have enough to get the first down.
I think he's going to get it. He's a big guy, 6'3", but his foot did slip when he took that first step back, catching the football from the center. But I think he's going to get the first down here. They're going to have 4 downs to punch it in and score a touchdown.
The Colgate offense thinks they've gotten it, but they're going to bring the chains out and measure. By no means is it obvious, so they'll pull the chains, and it is a first down by about half the length of the football. So with 14:57 to go in the game, Colgate is 2 yards away from taking the lead. As the ball rests just to the inside of the hash marks on the far side of the field, so almost to the extreme left side of the field.
The last time Bucknell was facing a situation like this, we were also in New York, Ithaca, New York, at Cornell. A little later in the football game, they came up to make the big play.
T formation for Colgate. Lindell to the middle back. That's the fullback Smith, and he didn't get in but did get to the 1. Terrence Parham there to make the stop. Ed Berman also there for the Bison. And probably someone at the bottom that we can't see the number. Pat Feely, the nose guard. Who else? The first guy to get to him. We'll call it, well, it looks like a gain of 1, so it's at the 1, I guess. Maybe outside the 1. The scoreboard still says 2, and it looks like from where they marked the ball that They didn't gain anything. So we'll call it 2nd and goal at the 2. Again, they line up in the T. Owens, Smith, and Patterson across from left to right. Lindell to Smith again. Smith over the line. He's got the touchdown. And Colgate leads it 12-7 a minute into quarter number 4.
Damon Smith built very low to the ground, low center of gravity, and very strong at the point of attack as he's carried defenders on his back all day long. Just punched it right up the middle out of the T formation.
It's 12-7 now the score. So Colgate will go for 2 to try to give them a 7-point lead.
And they look a little confused about just what they're supposed to do. They're a little late getting some linemen out on the field, and Lindell right now is in discussion with Ed Sweeney.
Is Colgate going to have to spend a timeout, or are they going to line up? And Colgate will spend a timeout. No, the officials are going to say they are taking the timeout. Now some Colgate medical staff is coming out on the field to take a look at one of the offensive linemen's hands, that being Rob Puntel, the center, and that may be a big timeout break for Colgate. Because the medical staff came on the field, they'd either be charged with a timeout or they must bring the center, Puntel, out of the game. So now Cedric Bodway will move over from guard and play center. So you've got a new center in the game for the extra point, which could be crucial, trying to make the 2-point conversion.
Well, they've got musical chairs going on. Earlier in the game, Rich Rogers took over for Tim Gerard at the left tackle position. He's still in there.
They've moved that line on this play. They've shuttled it around. Lone back is Smith. 3 wide receivers as Hill comes in motion. Lindell will roll to the right side. Stop. The ball batted in the air. It's up for grabs. And it's caught by John O'Flynn out of the air. And it is 14-7 in favor of Colgate.
I hope that's not indicative of what kind of game it was. There is no way in the world that ball should have been caught. O'Flynn was surrounded by 5 Bucknell jerseys. All anybody had to do was just knock the ball down.
It's 14-7. Colgate in front. 14:02 to go. We'll be back after this. You're listening to Bucknell football on the Bison Sports Network. We got, what, 2 to go? 2 to go? Thanks.
When that ball...
Kick high, short, and it'll go out of bounds at about the 18, so Bucknell will take it at their own 35-yard line, 1st and 10. 95 yards now on the day for Damon Smith, the most allowed to one running back since Rabi Abdullah had a big game against Lehigh, for Lehigh against Bucknell back on October 7th.
Yeah, he almost is at the 100-yard mark, and Bucknell has really done a good job of shutting down some very good running backs all year long, but this kid seems like he has their number. Not doing anything fancy, just really straight ahead running, a lot of power type plays up front, and really doing a number on the smaller, disadvantaged Bucknell defensive line.
So a 2-yard run by Smith, the batted catch by John O'Flynn, the tight end, gives Colgate a 14-7 lead with 14:02 to go in the football game. Bucknell has the wind at its back. Fox brings him to the line as the Bison start at their own 35. Noteboom and Sikowski go wide to the left. They hand the ball to Lemon. Lemon over the right side for 4. Out to the 39 before he's tripped up. Sofrin and Bird Leitner on the tackle for Colgate. 2nd and 6 coming up for the Bison.
There's no need to panic here if you're Bucknell's offense. You just have to execute. You have to execute 6, 7, 8, whatever it takes, number of plays in a row to get it done. Rich Lemon still can get 5 yards every time he touches the football. You just have to start stringing those plays together.
Bucknell with a 2nd down and 6. Fox back to pass from his own 39. Fox throws it right side. Good catch by Cal Wilcox. It'll be close to a 1st down. Mike Burton, the linebacker, on his back as soon as he caught it. Wilcox tried to turn up field and get 1st down yardage, and he will get it. Great second effort by the sophomore out of West Virginia, Cal Wilcox.
Yeah, as Cal was going out of bounds and being just drilled by the defensive back, he was able to stick the ball over the yard mark. Good common sense and good savvy right there of knowing where he was on the field and knowing where that 1st down market is.
And he took Burton, who weighs 225, with him for about 1.5 yards for the 1st down. Baxton and Myers in front of Lemon. Again, twin set to the left side. Fox throwing again. Fox left side, overshoots Noteboom. Ball looked like it caught a little wind underneath and sailed. But Noteboom was open at midfield, would have been at least 5, and then Noteboom usually does something after the catch. That might have been a 1st down.
Yeah, and you have to concentrate harder when the wind is like this and the conditions are like this. That was a well-thrown ball by Fox. He was wide open. You got to be able to turn your body, catch that ball in the air.
Second and 10 for Bucknell at their own 45. 13:20 to go in the game. Winless Colgate in front of Bucknell with 2 second-half touchdowns. It's 14-7. Fox on second and 10 on a draw to Lemon across the 45. He'll get about 3, maybe 2, as Colgate able to react quickly and close the hole down. Adam Sofern, a linebacker there, makes the stop for the Red Raiders.
That was a huge hole that opened up on that draw play for Lemon. It was a great call, and it was well executed. But right now, Colgate's in a position they haven't been in for weeks, Bob, and that is they're in a football game winning in the fourth quarter, and this team is just playing more inspired than they probably have any time this season.
Colgate's closest game this season was 11 points. They did that twice, 34-23 to Princeton and 20-9 against Lehigh. Both of those games played here at Andy Kerr Stadium. 3rd and 8 for Bucknell. They need to get to the Colgate 45 for the first. Fox back to pass. Fox steps up in the pocket. No one open. And Fox will be sacked. He fumbles the football. It is a scramble. Bucknell has fallen on it. One of their offensive linemen came up with it. Providing the pressure for the Colgate Red Raiders was Trip Lane, a reserve defensive lineman coming from the backside. And Bucknell will have to punt it away on 4th and 8 from their own 47-yard line.
Fox did a nice job of eluding the first defender that was in his grasp, but then he just needed to settle his feet down as the offensive lineman doubled up the only other guy left, and he kind of ran right into his arms.
12 minutes to go in the football game. Miller will punt, 10 men at the line for the Red Raiders. Return man standing at the 10 for Colgate. No rush as Colgate plays for the return. High kick carried. Hill goes back to the 5, lets it go. It hits at the 2 and rolls into the end zone. 55 yards on the punt for Miller, but again, only a 35-yard net when the ball comes out to the 20. Scores of other games, Lafayette now leads Fordham 14-7. That's 11 minutes to go in the third, and Lehigh by 2 touchdowns, 28-14 over Holy Cross at the half.
And in my mind, this is the biggest series of this game for the Bucknell defense. They need a 3 plays and out here for Colgate. They need to get the ball back to this offense, and if they can't do a 3 and out, they need to create a turnover at this point in the game.
Turnovers have been fairly plentiful in this game. Both teams have turned it over 3 times. 14-7 Colgate, 11:43 to go in the game. Toss left side to Patterson, gets a block at the corner, 25-30. He's off to the races, to the 40, to the 50. It's a foot race. Brandon Little will finally knock him down off the ankles at the 28-yard line of Bucknell. Jamal Patterson with his longest run of the season. The previous long was 18, but hold everything. It appears he may have stepped out of bounds at the 49-yard line. It still may be his longest run of the season. Not down inside the 30 to the 49, 28 yards. Great run for Patterson.
Great run for Patterson, but fantastic effort by Brandon Little to come from the other side of the field to bring down Patterson right there. Great saving tackle, because if Little doesn't get that ball and he does stay in bounds, he scores 6 points.
Great block on the corner to spring Patterson. 1st and 10 Red Raiders at their own 49. Backs in an eye. Lindell, the first man through, that's Smith. And Smith will be knocked down by Willie Hill at the line of scrimmage. No gain. 2nd and 10 from the 49. Bucknell down 7. 11:24 to go in the game.
That looks more like the defense that Bucknell's been playing throughout this year as Willie Hill came from the backside, knifing down and really gave a nice kiss to Patterson on that play.
2nd and 10 for Colgate. They'll break the huddle. Colgate playing with double tight ends. McNiff on the left side. O'Flynn on the right side. The lone wideout, J.J. Hope, to the right side. Backs in an eye. Smith in front of Patterson. Lindell on a long count. Looks over a 5-man front for Bucknell. Lindell will hand the ball to Patterson. Patterson breaks the play into the line of scrimmage inside the 50, down to about the 47, a gain of 4, and Colgate will look at 3rd and 6.
And in that formation, Patterson is the I-back and Damon Smith is the fullback, and we've dialed up Damon Smith's name quite a bit today, almost close to 100 yards in rushing, and he's acts as a pretty good blocking fullback when he has to also, as he gave a nice little kiss there to Brandon Little at the point of attack.
Colgate just 2 out of 13 on 3rd downs today. They look at 3rd and a long 6. 1 back, 2 receivers, and 2 tight ends. Lindell will hand it to Smith. Smith will get to the line of scrimmage. No more. Pat Feely and Rob Bird and Ed Berman there to throw him back. Brandon Little also there. We've called Brandon's name a lot this afternoon, and Colgate will have to punt it away. And on to kick again is Eric Gordon. 10 minutes now to go in the football game. Bucknell will get it back.
And if you're Dave Katulski, who just called this punt rush team out there on the field, you got to go for this block right now, because this has been a bad operation for Colgate today, and you got to kind of figure right now that may continue.
4th down and a long 6. Gordon waiting for the snap from McNiff. Bucknell with 10 men at the line. About 9 of them come. And Gordon's kick is low. It's going to bounce at the Bucknell 34, go sideways, and roll to the 33, and it'll be down there. And a 15-yard punt that time for Gordon.
It looked to me, Bob, like Gordon's knee touched the ground when he went to scoop up that snap, and that ball should be down at that line mark right there.
But they didn't call it, so Bucknell will get it at their own 33, 1st and 10, 9:30 to go in the football game. This is a position I did not expect Bucknell to be in. That is down in the 4th quarter this afternoon.
No, but this offense has shown a lot of moxie throughout the year, and they've played pretty well in the 4th quarter. And it's time for them to execute this 4th quarter.
1st and 10, a little trap to Lemon. Lemon will get about 6 on the play, crossing from the left side to the right side on the handoff before Colgate able to knock him down. 2nd and 4 coming up. Lemon now getting close to that mark of 162. We've got him with 166, and to go with last week's big 196 breaks a record that's been held since 1952 by Bert Talmadge of most yards in back-to-back games.
And if Bucknell's going to come back and win this football game here in the 4th quarter, it looks like Lemon is going to have to make one of his long runs.
2nd down and 4 after Lemon picked up 6. Fox back to pass, has time, but the ball tipped the line by Joe Castana. And it's batted down, incomplete. It'll now be 3rd and 4.
Castana, who started the last 3 seasons at defensive tackle, has been moved to defensive end this year. He's played very well this year, and today, in this game, he would have to be the defensive player of the game for Colgate.
Senior playing his final game at home for the Red Raiders. Bucknell now with a 3rd and 4. Possibly close enough, which you could run the ball, but probably a passing down. Perkins to the right, Nopum and Sikowski to the left. Backs are split behind Fox. 8:50 to go in the game. Bucknell is down 7. Play clock is down under 5. Fox will get the play off, and Colgate will blitz. Fox to Noteboom. 1st down at the 45. Jukes a man to the 50, to the 45, to the 40. It's a foot race. 20, 10, 5. Oh, he's caught at the 2. Coming out of nowhere, Rob Howard to make the tackle, and Bucknell will have it 1st and goal at the 2.
And just like when there's a slam dunk fast break in a basketball game, there's always an assist that's given to the man that gets the ball to the guy that makes the slam dunk. John Sikowski came from the other side of the field and laid a block on one of the defenders that freed Noteboom and allowed him to get it down to the 1-yard line. So an assist to Sikowski on that play. Great open field block.
59 yards worth of yardage for the Bison. Fox to Noteboom to the Colgate 1. Bucknell will go with double tight ends and a wingback. Myers in front of Lemon in the I. 8:24 to go in the football game. Fox to Lemon. Lemon right side dives. He's into the end zone, and we've got a 1-point game. It's now Colgate 14 and Bucknell 13. And the score comes with 8:19 remaining in the ball game.
And I think Tom Gadd is making the right decision here. He's going for the extra point, going for the tie at 14-14. There's still a lot of time left in this ball game, but there's no sense in taking a chance of missing the extra point at this point and putting yourself down 1.
The touchdown for Lemon, his 2nd of the game, his 8th of the season. The big 59-yard catch to Noteboom, his 1st catch of the afternoon. Miller trying to tie it. The kick is up, and the kick is good. We've got a break in the action. 8 minutes and 19 seconds to go. We're back to square one, tied at 14. You're listening to Bucknell football on the Bison Sports Network. Yet another down-to-the-wire game for the Bucknell Bison. We're tied at 14 with 8:19 to go. Coleman will kick off. Wind at his back. High end-over-end kick. It'll be taken by Caravetta on the 2. Come up the left hash mark to the 10, to the 15, to the 20. Has some room. To the 30, out across the 30 to the 33-yard line. A return of 31. Jeremy Myers on the tackle for the Bison. And again, Bucknell scored on the 1-yard run by Lemon, culminating a 4-play, 67-yard drive in 1:11, and it was Jim Fox making the great decision to get the ball to Nopum. And Brian, you think it was an audible?
Jim Fox definitely audible to that play, but in addition to making the audible, he also changed the protection, where both Myers and Lemon stayed in for added extra protection, and it gave him good confidence and good time to get that ball to Nopum, and Nopum with the 2nd longest catch of this year for him.
1st and 10, Lindell back to pass in a 14-all game, throws it over the middle of the tight end. O'Flynn makes the catch. It'll be a pickup of about 7. O'Flynn gets bopped by a couple of the Bison trying to knock the ball away from him, and Colgate will have a 2nd and 3 coming up here. Ball out across the 40 to the 43, make it to the 42-yard line. Officially, O'Flynn got 8, so it'll be 2nd and 2.
The defense, who have not performed especially well here in the second half, has really got to come up with some big stops here with under 8 minutes to go. Get the ball back to the offense.
8 of 12 for 62 yards is Lindell. He's played in the first, third, and fourth quarters. Prosciutto played in the second. It's a run to the outside, to the left side to Patterson, and a great job by the strong safety, Jack Boyle, to come up and make the stop, but it'll be a first down. Patterson picked up 5 or 6. Boyle didn't give up any additional yardage, stood him up, but again, the sticks will move.
And I'm looking at Pat Feely down there, who's just slow getting up off the ground, talking to one of the striped shirts. And I think this cut blocking that Colgate implements as part of their package has created some problems for Bucknell, as I've seen Ed Berman and Feely on the ground more than I ever have in any game so far this year.
1st and 10, Colgate at their own 48-yard line. Backs in an eye. Lindell hands it to Patterson, the tailback. Patterson will get 3, maybe 4. We'll call it a pickup of 4 to the Bucknell 48-yard line, 2nd and 6. Rob Bird on the tackle. Also there, Ed Berman and Mark Miller. Down to 7:11 to go in the football game, tied at 14.
And nothing fancy about this Colgate offense, just a great double team by Puntel and Monfort on Feely right there. A lead block by Damon Smith, and Patterson just following suit, picking up a tough 4 yards.
2nd and 6, again the backs in the eye. Smith in front of Patterson. Those are the best 2 backs. It's a toss right side of the tail, Patterson. Patterson breaks a couple of tackles inside the 45, gets to the sidelines inside the 40. He'll be knocked out of bounds at the 39. Another first down. A gain of about 8 for Colgate. And Patterson busting tackles. They should have had him at the line of scrimmage, but didn't.
Haggerty, Willie Hill, sure tacklers normally, really unable to bring down Patterson in the open field. They had him for minus yards to start with, and here he is. He's picking up quite a few.
Colgate with a chance to have 2 100-yard backs today. Patterson 13 carries for 80 yards and 26 carries for Smith for 95 yards. They can run the football. Smith came into the game averaging 72 yards a game. Patterson averaging about 40. They run a number of backs in. We haven't seen too much of Caravetta.
And Patterson seems a little dinged up after that last play, as he's being tended to by the medical staff of Colgate, but he gets up. It might have been just lost his breath. Maybe a little shot to the diaphragm right there.
Patterson played last year as a freshman, rushed the ball 62 times for 334 yards. Over the 300 mark this season. 6:43 remains. Colgate into the win. They'll have a first down at the Bucknell 39-yard line. To the left side, it's Hill. They play with double tight ends. McNiff and O'Flynn book in the line. Huff now in front of Smith in the backfield as Smith again switches to the tailback. 5-man line for Bucknell. Smith will carry left side. Again, 3 or 4 yards before Smith is thrown back by a whole host of Bison. It'll be 2nd and 7 after a 3-yard gain. This Colgate football team just loves to pound it in the middle of the field, and it's been pretty effective thus far. This team has really run the ball better against Bucknell than most opponents have this season.
And it really looks like an inside drill that you would watch in training camp, where it's just 7-on-7 inside the offensive line and a fullback against the front 7 of Bucknell. And that time, Puntel from the right guard position just folded around, or Monfort from the right guard position folded around Puntel and led the play.
2nd and 7. Smith out of the fullback spot will run for 2, get inside the 35 to the 34. We want to remind you that the Patriot League, of course, has overtime, giving the 2 teams the ball at the 25-yard line. And that is another reason probably that Tom Gadd played for the 1 to put himself in the tying position, because you know you're not going to lose the game. If you are tied, you're going to have at least a chance to determine your own fate in overtime. 3rd and 5. 5:38 to go in the football game. Hope to the left, Hill to the right. They'll play with O'Flynn, the tight end, on the right side, McNiff on the left, Smith the lone back. They need to get to the 29 for a first down. Lindell being blitzed, throws it to McNiff, who has blockers in front on the left side, but Brandon Little fights through to make the tackle. It'll be a gain of 2, and Colgate will have a 4th and 3. Great play by Brandon Little, because Colgate had blockers set up on the left side.
Yeah, Colgate had Cedric Bodway out there one-on-one with Brandon Little, leading the interference on, again, that tight end delayed screen to the other side of the field. It was a great setup, a great looking play, but Brandon Little knifed through and made a terrific tackle 4th down, they've got a decision. They're going to go for it here.
They really have no choice. You're not going to make a 50-yard field goal into the wind, and you're going to gain only about 13 yards by punting into the end zone. So it's 5:19 to go. Score tied at 14. Colgate with a 4th down and a long 3 to go. Lindell tosses to Patterson, left side. Patterson will not get the first down. He needed to get inside the 30 and didn't do it. And the Bucknell defense has stopped them on downs for the 2nd time today.
And I was just going to add a couple plays before that Bucknell has not substituted very much today on defense. Probably didn't figure that they were going to get caught in this kind of a battle. And they looked like they were getting a little worn down as they were running Smith and Patterson in conjunction with one another. And that time when they had to come up with a big play, they did. A lot of time for this offense right now to come down and win this game in a theatrical style.
5:11 to go in the football game. Fox has his backs in an offset eye. Myers and Lemon, 2 receivers to the left side. They'll toss it to Lemon, short side. To the right side, he'll fight his way across the 35 to the 36-yard line, a gain of 3 on first down.
And that's really been their favorite play today as they've pulled the onside guard. That time it was George Hogan, and they fouled that up with the fullback kicking out. And it's really just a power sweep, a toss to Lemon, and it's been pretty effective for him this afternoon.
Down to 4:45 to go in the football game. Score tied at 14. Sikowski and Noteboom both go wide to the left. Backs in the offset eye, the tight end on the right side. Colgate in a 5-man line. Fox watches the play clock dwindle down to 5. They'll run the ball to the short side to Lemon. Lemon catches the corner, has the first down. Out close to the 45-yard line. We'll call it a gain of 8 for Rich Lemon, and the sticks will move. 4:29 to go in the football game.
As an offensive lineman, this is your favorite time of the game. If you can continue to block, continue to create surges like they have to show with starting this drive here, you know that you're going to get the ball in the end zone. You can feel really good. It's your own trophy here at the end of this game is if you can do this on the ground.
A couple of Colgate defenders, Rob Howard and Aaron Bird-Leitner in the secondary, look like they're limping a little bit. I don't know, maybe you might want to try something and go long. They're being very slow getting up from the play. 1st and 10 at the 45. Their own. Fox to Lemon again. Lemon bounces to the right side and thought it was a flag down, but it looks like it is a soft drink cup that is going across the field. It'll be a gain of 3 for Lemon. 2nd and 7 coming up.
The action that's being taken out there right now in the field, it very resembles a lot of what happened in Fordham as they took the last drive of the game and scored with about 6 seconds to go to win that game. And this is what it's going to be here today. They don't want to go to overtime on this field because one big play is probably going to decide it. They want to score right now on this drive and score with no time on the clock.
3.5 minutes to go. 2nd and 7 for Bucknell at their own 48. They need to get to the Colgate 45. Play clock down to 3. They're not going to get this play off. 1. They do get it off. Fox back to pass. Has time. Goes long down the hash. Noteboom is there, but it's overthrown. Charles Holland had coverage. Bird-Leitner and Howard were late getting over there, and the clock stops with 3:16 to go. We've got a 3rd and 7 for Bucknell.
And Fox almost got himself into trouble there as he changed that play. He audibilized, and he saw something with Noteboom. Noteboom got a good split on the safeties. Fox overthrew it, but he almost was guilty of taking too much time as he got that ball off with 1 second to go.
3:16 remaining in the football game.
Huge play here. Biggest 3rd down of the season.
Perkins to the right, Noteboom and Sikowski to the left. They'll play without a tight end. Peer and Lemon side by side in the backfield behind Fox. 4-man line for Colgate. They'll run the ball to Lemon. He'll get the first down. They'll run the ball to Lemon. He needed 7. He got 8 inside the 45 to the 44. Colgate was not expecting that one.
That was a delayed trap right there as Richie Lemon, it's almost like he's running a draw, but there's a trap inside. It takes a little bit of time to develop. He had to kind of skirt through the soup right at the line of scrimmage. He broke a tackle. He was able to pick up 8 yards. Great play.
Good note for Bucknell. The Bison are 4 out of 6 on 3rd down conversions in the second half, and put a star by that one because that was a huge conversion with 2:54 and counting left. Lemon with a tying of the school record 37 carries in the football game. Could break it right here and does. Lemon tries to go to the outside. Burton will wrestle him down, just a gain of 2 on the play. 2nd and 8 coming up from the Colgate 43-yard line. We'll change it to a gain of 1 from the 43.
And Rich Lemon is really remarkable. He doesn't show any signs of fatigue or wear and tear right now. We've seen him get stronger in situations just like this. And, I think he still has a big one left in him that he's going to rip off here on this drive.
Don't the good backs seem to get better as the game goes along? You think, well, how do they keep doing it? But they do.
Well, the one thing that all the Bucknell football players have alluded to in post-game interviews is that they're in fantastic condition. and feel like that's a big difference.
Bombic into the game at fullback for Myers, and they'll try to flare it out to him on the left side. It's incomplete, and it'll be a 3rd down and 9 coming up for Bucknell at the Colgate 43. Clock stopped with 2 minutes and 4 seconds left in the game. The Patriot League, since instituting overtime this year, has not seen an overtime game. If we progress a little closer to it, we'll explain the rules of it to you. But right now it's 14-all with 2:04 to go, and well, that was a huge first down. Is this 3rd down conversion? Is this even bigger?
Yeah, it seems like they get bigger and bigger as you go on. And the guy that I'm really going to look at right now in the pattern is John Sikowski. He's had kind of a tough day. He's a good kid. He's a quality receiver. I think he wants to make amends for a couple of fouls early in the game.
3rd and 9, back split, everybody into the pattern. Fox has time. Fox steps up in the pocket. Now we'll think about running, pulls it down and throws it to Perkins, and they're going to say he trapped it at the 29. It would have been good enough for a first down. Charles Holland on the coverage, and I don't know, it was very close. And Bucknell is going to play the field position game with 1:56 to go, and they're going to leave Jim Fox on to pooch punt it. With 4th and 9, maybe think that he might try to throw it. Colgate will leave their real defense on the field and drop cornerback Aaron Bird-Leitner back to the 10-yard line.
If they have him out there to pooch punt, then he needs to pooch punt it, meaning put the ball inside the 20-yard line.
Lennox to snap. Long count. There goes the snap. Colgate wants the ball, so they play for the return. It's a high kick. With the wind, it's going to go into the end zone, and it's out to the 20-yard line again. And now Josh Lebrecht jousting with Adam Sofrin on the far sideline. The official chastising Sofrin, but no flag thrown. With the teams changing possession here with 1:47 to go, quickly we'll explain the overtime. They will flip a coin. If you win the toss, you will have the choice of whether you would like to go first in the overtime with the ball at the 25-yard line, go second, or pick which way you want the thing to go. So I would think both teams would probably want the ball to go with the win in case you need to kick a field goal. You will get a 1st and 10 at the 25. You can do whatever you want, either sustain yourself until you score, kick a field goal, or lose the ball on downs. The other team will have to at least tie you to prolong the game, or obviously do better than you are to win the game.
We hope to never get to that situation right now. We hope that Bucknell can 3 plays and out this Colgate offense, call timeout, make good use of the clock.
Colgate will run the ball left side to Patterson, try to turn the corner, but Mark Miller, who plays so well against the run from his free safety spot, will make the stop, keep him in bounds with a gain of 2. And now Bucknell is going to spend a timeout here, I believe, because the Bison have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. They will call it. We'll take it with them. 1:35 to go in the game, tied at 14. You're listening to Bucknell football on the Bison Sports Network. Yet another down-to-the-wire game in the Patriot League for Bucknell. 1:35 to go. 2nd down and 8 for Colgate. Tied at 14. Lindell Rush throws it over the middle. It's intercepted by Michael Haggerty at the 20, and he'll return it to the 16.
Unbelievable.
4th turnover of the game forced by the Bison, and it was really Rob Bird in the face of Mark Lindell that forced the errant throw.
Absolutely. Rob Bird on a blitz, straight-out blitz. Nobody there to pick him up. Lindell was forced to throw hot, and he just threw it right into the middle of the pack. Haggerty was just waiting on that football. If Haggerty had Richie Lemon's running skills right there, he'd probably score 6 points.
Great play by Haggerty and Bird, the 2 inside linebackers teaming up. And now the Bison with the win, certainly in field goal range, as the ball officially marked down at the 17. They'll come to the line. Fox sends 2 receivers to the left. Backs are in an eye. 1st and 10, 1:28 to go. Lemon up the middle, inside the 15, down to about the 13-yard line. We'll call it a gain of 4. 2nd and 6 coming up for the Bison. 1:18 and counting. Bucknell left with 2 timeouts, as does Colgate.
Once again, the Bucknell defense coming up huge when it counts the most. Last time up in New York, we talked about earlier, up in Ithaca, down there on the 4-yard line, they fumble the football. Bucknell opportunistic, recovers the fumble. This time, Haggerty with the interception.
Less than a minute to go. Nofum and Sikowski to the left. They'll toss it right side to Lemon to the short side. A flag is down. It'll be a gain of maybe 2 to the 11. Hold everything. Joe Castana on the tackle, and the question is either face mask Colgate or
that was
holding
Jeremy
against.
Myers. Jeremy Myers just absolutely tackled Adam Sofrin on the corner right there. He got tangled up, and the referee made the right call. It's going to be holding.
And now with a 10-yard penalty, you're putting yourself in precarious field goal range.
Tom Gadd right now, I just show him just a sign of exasperation right there on the sideline. He can't believe it, how many opportunities they're going to get to win a football game and then blow it.
The clock stopped with 53 seconds to go in the football game. Perkins and Peer will come in for Myers and Stover. Colgate having to decide whether they want the yardage, and with a field goal could beat you, you got to take the yardage. Don't worry about the down in that situation.
You try to put them out of field goal range right now, and that's exactly the decision they made. It was the right one.
Of course, Bucknell with the win. We saw Ross Coleman hit a 56-yarder in warm-ups with the win, and sure, if it came down to the last seconds, you'd try a long one with the win at your back.
I think the freshman would love to have that opportunity and then make good on that opportunity.
Perkins to the right, Noteboom, and Sikowski to the left. Fox to Lemon. Lemon over the left side will get to the 21. It'll be 3rd down and 14. 35 seconds to go, and timeout right now is going to be spent by Bucknell to talk things over on 3rd down. They have 1 timeout left. We'll talk it over here. Do you run the ball and set yourself up for a 38, 39-yard field goal, or you try to move it downfield with a pass to get yourself closer?
What they did on that last play was they ran Richie Lemon to the left, which put the ball in the middle of the field. So they're in good field position from the standpoint of direction to the goalpost. Now I think they take a shot down the field, throwing the football, making it safe. Don't do anything silly with the football. If you're going to overthrow it, you know, that's the way you do it. But I think they're in field goal position right now with this wind at Richie Miller's back.
Be about a 37 or 38-yard field goal now. The ball is at the 22. You figure 7 for the hold. That's to the 29, so I guess about a 39-yard attempt. His long on the season is 43.
But he has never kicked with this kind of a tailwind, and I think it's got to be a huge advantage, although I think it's a little bit of a crosswind more than a wind that's directly behind him, so that's something to consider also.
34 seconds left in the game. The Bison break the huddle. Noteboom and Sikowski to the right, Perkins to the left. Peer now and Lemon back split behind Fox. No tight ends. 3rd and about 13. Fox back to pass. Going for the 5-yard line, and a diving catch by Sikowski with 28 seconds to go at the 5. Good enough for the 1st down. And the Bison will go without a huddle. Fox will probably try to spike it here on 1st down. Fox under center. Everybody is set, and he will spike it, and the clock will stop with 24 seconds to go. It'll be 2nd down and goal at the Colgate 5.
Very smart by Jim Fox, and I'm really happy for Sikowski. An extra 5 seconds just ticked off the clock, and they're all pointing to it. I think they'll put it back to 25. But I'm glad for John Sikowski because he's had a tough game here today, but he makes the biggest catch of the game thus far.
12 yards on the catch. He has 3 for 46 and is now within 4 yards of getting 1,000 for his career, and should be able to get that next week.
And I might have jinxed him talking to him in pregame out there on the field today, telling me he only needed 50 yards. He claimed he didn't know how many yards he needed to get to 1,000, so maybe I spoke too soon.
Bucknell in great position. Scoreboard shows 20 seconds left, but there should be 25 seconds remaining. They've got the ball on the 5-yard line. Time to run a couple of plays, and then if you aren't successful, you got basically an extra point.
Correct. So they've got a little bit of time here that they can play around with. Not do anything stupid, but they have a chance to get it into the end zone right now. They have a couple plays to take that opportunity with.
Scoreboard still says 20 seconds. I don't know if maybe the officials might count to 5 and then wind it, or maybe they just said tough luck. There's 20 seconds to go. Baxton and Bucknell play with double tight ends. Rocket a wingback left side. The ball on the 5. Fox will hand it to Rocket. The clock is being held. No, Fox didn't hand it to Rocket. Throws it to Ted Stover, who catches the ball and gets forced out of bounds at the 1. Down to 16 seconds to go. The clock stops. Great ball fake by Fox. I thought he gave it up.
What a great call, and what a great catch with the one hand turning his body into a very difficult wind. I think with 16 seconds here, they got to run and take their chances right up the middle, maybe with Jeremy Myers.
And you can run the ball because it's 3rd down. You have a timeout left. If you don't get it, you call your timeout. Bison looking to the sidelines. Clock stopped with 16 seconds remaining.
They've got to hurry, get it out of the huddle here. There's only 7 seconds to go.
Bison run to the line, double tight ends. Wing back is Rocket. He'll go to the right side. Baxton and they snap the ball with 1. Lemon will carry, and Lemon will lose yardage back to the 4. And Bucknell will call timeout with 12 seconds left. Probably in that situation, although the Bison may have panicked and called timeout too early, probably should have called timeout with about 3 seconds left so you don't have to kick off if you make the field goal.
Maybe they should have, because the team just didn't look properly set. They looked like they really rushed the play coming out of the huddle. There was some confusion from getting the play from the sidelines to Jim Fox right there. And Adam Sofrin, let's give him some credit, made a great play from the backside, catching Richie Lemon and bringing him down in the open field.
Rich Miller has never had an opportunity to try a game-winning field goal in his Bucknell career. This will be it.
I talked with Ross Coleman before the game about their whole operation of field goals and extra points. And I said that, Ross, this is a very confusing-looking issue out there. It never looks safe. It never looks comfortable. You guys never look like you're in great execution form. And he told me, he said, Brian, he goes, it's something that we've addressed throughout the season, but it seems like there's a different breakdown in every different situation. There's nothing that's been consistently bad with it. Just overall, it hasn't been good. It's time to get this thing firmed up right now. A lot of players down on a knee saying a little prayer.
It's at the 4-yard line. The hold will come from the 11. It'll be a 21-yard field goal, pretty much in the middle of the field. With 12 seconds to go to give Bucknell a 3-point lead, and now Colgate is going to take a page out of Pete Voss's book and try to ice the kicker. They'll call their second of 3 timeouts. Bucknell now will come over to the sidelines, and why not if you're Colgate? Because you only have about 9 seconds left in the game. If field goal is good, why not make Miller think about it as long as possible, and maybe those goalposts will start to narrow in his mind.
I agree with that, but I don't agree with pulling a whole extra point or field goal team off to the side and talking to them. I don't think it's necessary. This is an operation that requires no thinking. This should just be a snap, a hold, and a kick. And the guys up front, they've been doing this since July. This should be just second nature to them.
12 seconds remain. Again, it'll be a 21-yard field goal for Rich Miller. Colgate will come back on the field. I think right now I'd want to hold 1 timeout for my offense, just in case you got a little bit of time left. You maybe hit a long pass and call a timeout. Ball is at the 4-yard line. The hold will come at the 11, so it'll be a 21-yard kick. Not quite in the center of the field, maybe shaded a little bit to the right, but pretty much out in front of the goalposts. Bucknell trying to go to 4-1 and move the winning streak to 5 games and win 7 games for the first time since '90. 21-yard field goal. Sikowski to hold, Wilcox to snap, and Colgate will use their final timeout with 12 seconds to go.
It's time just to huddle up. These guys don't need to talk about this anymore. Cal Wilcox knows he just needs to deliver a strike right down the pike to Sikowski, put the ball on the ground, and kick the winning field goal.
The wind is changing again. It looks like it's almost a southwesterly wind now, kind of going diagonal across the field.
It's been diagonal the second half right now, but it shouldn't really make it a difference in this field goal.
Bucknell's team huddling around Tom Gadd. Colgate's team huddling around Ed Sweeney. If the kick is missed, we will probably see our first overtime game of the season. If it's made, Colgate will have probably somewhere around 8 or 9 seconds to maybe try a Cal lateral play down the field to win the ball game.
Well, I'm glad that Haggerty made the interception, and I'm glad that they're at the 4-yard line with the chance to win it with 12 seconds to go, because this whole overtime issue was a little confusing to me, and I really don't want to have to learn about it right now. I'll read about it in the offseason, Bob.
Fair enough. Sikowski to hold, Wilcox to snap. This time it's for real because Colgate's out of timeouts. 21-yard field goal for Rich Miller to try to put the Bison in front, 17-14. Wilcox to snap. Sikowski looks at Miller, raises his hand. The snap is low. Sikowski sets it up, and the kick is blocked. 8 seconds, and it's out of the end zone. Colgate will get it at the 20, and they'll have a chance to go to overtime probably in this football game. The snap was bobbled low, and that gave Colgate time to penetrate to block the kick.
And Cal Wilcox did not do what he was supposed to do in that play. He gave a very difficult ball for Sikowski to handle as it was on the ground. And I really believe that Rich Miller in that situation has to have enough savvy to be able to slow down his approach to the ball as Sikowski's putting the ball back up on the tee.
So Colgate will have 8 seconds to go, and if they don't do it, we'll try to explain the overtime as best as possible to you. And it looks like they've got people back there just going to fall on it. Okay, Lindell, quarterback, takes the knee, and that's the football game as far as regulation is concerned. So we will go to overtime. The rules are such as this. They will flip a coin. You can decide if you want to go first or second. It's kind of like a baseball format. There'll be innings. You'll get the ball at the 25 going in. If you get a first down, you keep the series going. It goes until you either score or lose the ball on downs or turn it over. So if you get a fumble or interception, just fall on the ball, that wipes out your opponent's turn.
Do they have any extra timeouts in overtime?
They each get one.
One timeout apiece.
So that is how we'll play the overtime. I would think I'd want to go second. I think I'd want to be the home team, basically like in baseball, with a chance knowing what you have to do offensively against your opponent.
And Norris Wilson, the large offensive line coach of Bucknell, had to be restrained right there as he was going after an official. And I think he thinks that something deleterious was done to one of his offensive linemen during that extra point. If somebody went after Cal Wilcox's knee or something like that, he's not happy with what happened in the interior of that play.
Heath Mathias raises a good question. Can you kick a field goal? Certainly. You could kick a field goal on first down and put 3 points on the board. If, say, you hold your opponent to, 3 and out or 4 and out, I mean, I don't think you'd want to try a 40-yard field goal from the 25, but you could do that and end the game on the first play.
The way this team has gone in extra points and field goals this year, they're better off on fourth down going for the touchdown than they are going for the sure thing.
The team that wins the toss and elects whether to go first or second, the other team will get to decide which way, and I would almost bet on it that the team's going to pick to have the win. Both teams will attack the same end zone, so it isn't unfair that one team will get the win and one team won't.
Right.
First time in the Patriot League we've seen overtime in any game this season.
And it's been that kind of a game, though. It's been odd from the get-go today, just from the opening flip, when Colgate really screwed up what they were trying to do once they won the toss.
And the Colgate captains are around their coaches, and I think they're explaining exactly what they want them to call if they win the toss.
Yeah. Hopefully, well, for Colgate, that is, that they get this right this time around. Bucknell seems very sure about what they want to do, as their 4 captains have been ready for the last 2 minutes to go do this coin toss.
It'll be interesting to see who wins what they choose. I would think you'd want to go second, so you know what kind of points you need to put on the board. Again, Colgate 0-9. I think if somebody came up to Ed Sweeney yesterday and said, Ed, I'll give you a wish. You're in overtime. I think he'd have taken it.
He's all over that, and I think he also has the game plan for what he wants to do in overtime. Now, if I was the coach, I'd want the ball right away. I'd like to put pressure on the other team to have to score. So if I'm Bucknell right now and I win this toss, I want the football. I want the ball, and I want to end this thing as quickly as possible, just like they should have done here in the first half and later in the second half.
But the one thing I will say, just to make sure and reiterate, the other team, even if you scores, gets a chance to match it.
Right, they get a chance. But I'm just saying, put the pressure on them to force them to have to score to be able to duplicate what you just did.
Here we go. Prosciutta, Howard, and Castana will be the captains for Colgate. Gay, Bird, Feely, and Sikowski for Bucknell. And it's exciting, isn't it?
Well, you know, it's for Colgate right now. I mean, this is their season. You know, to win an overtime game at home, last home game of the season, 0-9. Last time they won a game was against Bucknell. There's just so much that they can read into this, that they can have just a little bit of joy at some point during the season. And for right now, Bucknell, winners of 4 games in a row, all that is for naught if they lose this game this afternoon. I mean, this is really going to be an awful defeat if they don't come out on here on top.
The officials explaining the rules in overtime, which we've explained to you. It appears that Sikowski will make the call for Bucknell. The coin is yet to go in the air. It is kind of a complex situation. I think they want to explain the choices to both team captains so there are no confusions as far as direction, as far as who gets to go first, who gets to go second. It's been a very, very long conversation out there at midfield. Again, the stiff wind. It's been overcast. It's been cool, but by Colgate standards, balmy. And we've had no precipitation as of yet. They are still explaining. Now it's in the air. The coin is flipped. And it appears that Colgate has won the toss. And we'll see whether they want to go first, second, or pick the end. And now they're discussing it with Bucknell.
I think the overtime is good, though, Bob. I would rather see a game being decided in this type of a format than to see the thing ended as a tie.
It appears that Colgate has won the toss. Bucknell is going to go first, and they are going to go with the wind from our right to our left. So Bucknell will have the offense first at the 25-yard line. Again, it is not sudden death. If Bucknell scores 3, 6, 7, or 8, Colgate will get a chance with the ball immediately following. And the ball will go to the 25-yard line in the middle of the field.
I think Norris Wilson wants to put some pads on and a helmet himself and go out there and really open up some holes for Rich Lemon. I think this is Lemon time right now. I think this is time for Richie really to shine, to show him as being, I think, the Patriot League Player of the Year and the guy most worthy of most offensive praise. Time for him to kind of carry this football team, get into the end zone and get 6 points.
Lemon, a school record 41 carries, has 193 yards. The school record for rushing in a football game is 220. I'm assuming the stats count, but I would say that with a little hesitancy in this situation here. The points count, so I think the stats would count as well.
I hope they count.
Time is meaningless. First down and 10 at the 25. We're in overtime. Fox laterals, right side to Lemon. Lemon cuts back, getting down to the 21, and is a gain of 4 on the tackle, Joe Castana for Colgate. It is now 2nd down and 6 from the 21. Actually, it's going to be 2nd and 7. They'll say Lemon's neat touchdown at the 22.
And Bucknell not doing anything fancy. They're doing what their offense has really done all day long. They pulled the right guard. They led with Jeremy Myers to the weak side, and they let Richie Lemon pick and choose his own lane.
Sikowski and Noteboom wide to the left. Backs in an offset eye. Fox will pass on 2nd and 7. Has time. Fox over the middle. Diving catch inside the 10 for the first down by Steve Noteboom, the senior, out of Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, and the Bison will have it 1st and goal at the 8.
And the key really to that play was the protection that Jim Fox had, as he had a lot of time for Noteboom to uncover down the field. And, you know, it's really a shame that this wind has been just such a burgeoning factor out here today, because their passing game is much better than the Colgate secondary, and they really haven't been able to expose that like I think they normally would have. 1st
and goal at the 8. Noteboom and Sikowski to the left. Now Fox will split his backs. Myers and Lemon behind him. Fox back to pass, throwing it left side to Sikowski. Makes the catch at the 4. Is he in or is he down at the 1? They're going to call him down at the 1. And now some wrestling and some pushing. Not a time to get a 15-yard penalty. If you're Bucknell, the referees jump in and separate him, and the Bison now will have 2nd down and goal at the 1.
How can that not be a touchdown when half his body was in the end zone?
And the Bison now just less than a yard away from putting 6 on the board. Fox into the huddle. 25-second clock, of course, is operating as far as the play, even though the game clock is not. 2nd and goal at the 1. Double tight ends, Rocket a wingback.
I'd quarterback sneak.
Myers and Lemon. Myers, the fullback, will carry. Is Jeremy in? He stacked up at the line. He did not get in. It'll now be 3rd and goal at the 1.
We've seen Jeremy Myers in this situation before. He runs too high to be effective down here in the goal line. He exposes too much of his body for the defense to hit him, and he's shaking up, getting off the field real slow right now.
Patrick Janssen will come in at guard for George Hogan. Jeremy Myers, shaken up, will come out. And Jeff Bombick will come in at fullback. And the Bison will be looking at 3rd down and goal at the 1.
I know that look of Jeremy Myers right there. He's got a stinger. It's going down his left shoulder right there. All distorted.
Double tight ends. Bombick will be in front of Lemon. Rocket the lone wide out to the right side. Fox to Lemon. Lemon following a Bombick block. Up and over. Hurdles into the end zone for the touchdown. And it is 20-14, Bucknell on top.
How fitting was that drive? 2 big catches by Sikowski and Noteboom, and then Lemon over the top. That's the 3-headed monster for this Bucknell offense, and they really came through in the clutch overtime to produce the touchdown that they needed.
So Lemon will take it in, 20-14. Miller on for the extra point. Sikowski yelling at the bench, and it looks like Bucknell.
They need somebody from Myers, who usually is in that post.
They're going to run Bombick out. They have yet to call the timeout. They still have 18 seconds left to snap it. The extra point critical, because if Colgate would turn around and score a touchdown, if you miss the extra point, they can squeak you with the extra point. Miller's kick is up, and the kick is good. So Bucknell will lead it 21-14. And now Colgate, in a situation, if they were to score, could put it all on the line and go for 2 to try to win the game, or could go for the tie if they score.
I don't think there's any question what Ed Sweeney can do or will do if he scores a touchdown. He'll go for 2. He'll go for the win. There's no sense in getting a tie right now at 0-9.
Well, no, it wouldn't be a tie. We'd prolong ourselves to keep doing this from the 25. We may do it 25 times here tonight, Brian.
I'm learning here, Bob. I'm learning about this Patriot League little wrinkle they throw in there for overtimes, but I don't think it's going to get to the point. I think just as the Bucknell offense came up big, I think the defense is really going to shine here brightly. 1st and 10 Colgate at the Bucknell 25. It's going to be a reverse. Smith to Hill. Hill will come to the left side. 30, 25, 20, 15, inside the 15 to the 12. Smith took the handoff, went to the right, and flipped it to Hill, coming back to the left, and Colgate has a 1st and 10 at the Bucknell 12. When we were diagramming things here in pregame and talking about the strengths and weaknesses of both teams, we said that this Colgate offense had pretty good statistics, that they could move the football. And they're showing that here in the second half as they've been creative and I think they've been effective here on offense.
1st and 10 actually at the 11 for Colgate. Lindell has them in an eye, double tight ends. They'll run the ball to Patterson. Patterson inside the 10 to maybe the 8 or the 7. And it'll be 2nd down, and we'll call it 7 for the Red Raiders. They can get a 1st down at the 1. J.J. Hope will come back into the game for Colgate for Patterson, so they will go with 2 wide receivers now.
And it's obvious in overtime here that this is 4-down territory. So they've got basically 4 downs in order to get this 1st down or get into the end zone.
You're right, because a field goal does them absolutely positively no good, down 21-14. Smith, the lone back. Back to throw is Lindell. Throws it left side to Hope, and it's intercepted by Brandon Little, and that means the game is over. Brandon Little intercepts, and the Bison win in overtime, 21-14.
Oh, and you know, the Bucknell team is confusing maybe as this game was in overtime. They knew exactly what that interception meant. Norris Wilson, once again, has to be restrained from going after an official, and those officials take off in the other direction. But that doesn't stop the celebrating from going on down to the 10-yard line.
So the interception for the Bison, and the ball game is over in overtime, 21-14. And what we're going to do right now is pause for this 2-minute timeout. Be back with our post-game show. The Bison winners by 7 in the first overtime game ever in the Patriot League. You're listening to Bucknell Football.